All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Wrestling Estate Freak Show. Good to be back. My name is Jack Goodwillie, your charming host, and I'm joined once again by Jenna's Beauty Slam to talk some women's wrestling again. Jenna, welcome back to the show.
Hello. How the heck are you?
Doing well. Not much has changed. Actually, a lot's changed. Like externally, I mean. The last time we talked, the Mae Young Classic, we're still like 2 weeks away from getting underway. And now it's come and gone, and we have a new champion of the tournament. That's Toni Storm, and I think we both called that.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I know. I remember we were both pulling heavily for her. Like, I know she was like I wanted to see her win person. But yeah, my money was on her.
Yeah, and it's easy to see why. She's just so talented at such a young age, and that's a common thing. I think I was looking at with a lot of the UK wrestlers. They're going to be running the business in about 5 or 6 years or so. If you think about it, Toni Storm's like 22, Rhea Ripley's like 22, Tyler Bate is like 21. It's Pete Dunne is like 25. It's pretty insane what they've already accomplished at such a young age.
That's actually something that I mentioned. I think I said it on Twitter, actually, the night of Evolution was just, Charlotte, Becky, and Natalya, Naomi, all these girls are doing great. Very well to watch out for the Io Shirai's and the Rhea Ripley's and the Toni Storms, because those girls are quite literally nipping at their heels. Dare say they can hang right now as far as showmanship and putting on a good match. So this present crop of women need to be mindful of this upcoming generation, because these girls are good, hungry. You can tell they want this badly.
Oh, there's no doubt they can hang. The only thing that's really stopping them at this point is their promotional barriers. Of course, it looks like Toni and Rhea are going to spend some time in the NXT UK brand, which is a phenomenal show, by the way. I also got caught up on that this week. And then it looks like Shirai's going to join Kairi Sane in NXT.
Okay.
It would appear.
Well, they're best friends, aren't they? Shirai and Kairi Sane. I don't know if that's actually it, or if that's just WWE thinking, oh, they're both Japanese. Or if they're really best friends, but
no, they are. They were like considered to be like two of like the three musketeers of Japanese women's wrestling. I forget who the third girl is. I think she's still in Japan.
So in all likelihood, she'll probably be in next year's Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, no doubt. But you know what? I also watched Evolution the day after it happened, which is funny because from a pure wrestling card standpoint, I was looking forward to that, and Crown Jewel about the same. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy going on with the Crown Jewel thing, and I have heard about some of the stuff that's gone on with that. I think I'm going to watch it later tonight. But I have to say, for the lack of promotion that WWE kind of gave to Evolution, it seemed like they kind of got bored with it about 2 weeks into the promotion. Of course, they started promoting it ways out. So, I mean, that's on them. But I have to say, the card really lived up to the high standards they kind of put it at.
Absolutely. And one thing that I've talked to a few people about was I would rather a card be under-promoted, have the people on the card overperform, then have an overhyped, overpromoted card that just kind of falls flat. So a lot of the women, honestly, every single woman on the card, for the most part, should be themselves and what they did, because every woman went out there and you could just see it. They went out there to prove a point. And I thought it was a great show, and I'm one of the strictest critics of women's wrestling out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that our last podcast got that through pretty thick. But
oh boy, did I ever catch grief for that.
Did you?
Man. Bella fans for the most part, which I expected. And again, if you have hate for me, it is at Miss Jenna _. Don't mess it up. Make sure you get through, because I do want to hear all of your tears. I want to hear it. But I also caught a lot of other quote unquote female wrestling fans who accused me of being sexist, said that I was looking for reasons to insult female wrestlers, that I was just catty, that I was jealous. Like, I got a lot of, you're fat, you're jealous. Like, okay, that's what it is.
Those be fighting words.
Well, you know, whenever a girl was gotten ugly, I would always respond with the same line: weird, your absentee father thinks I'm beautiful.
That's incredible.
Down. So that usually knocks it on out. Like, we don't usually interact anymore after that. So, but
there's no coming back from a line like that.
Which is the goal. But yeah, you know, it's not that I adore women's wrestling, and I have hated a little bit at the Evolution pay-per-view because they interviewed all the women and what does evolution mean to you? Would it have killed them to men? Would it have killed them to just put a picture up and acknowledge her? Would it have killed them to acknowledge Sensational Sherry? You know, Rockin' Robin, Wendy Richter. You know, I understand, and I know Moolah's name shouldn't come up, but Wendy Richter doesn't deserve a nod. We couldn't even maybe get a soundbite from her. I don't know.
Well, two things on the women's evolution, revolution, whatever you want to call it, angle that WWE likes to take. First off, they act like this is like the women getting their own pay-per-view is like on the level of like women earning the right to vote. You know,
yes.
They talk about it in these hyperbolic terms, and it's like, guys, it's great. You got your own show, but it's not like the big deal that you really think it is. It's great, and it was
not
a great
when
show,
wrestling companies the world over have already been doing this. You know, but we're doing it, so now it matters.
Yes,
you know,
that's the thing. And
something that bugged me, and the WWE Facebook page, someone intimated that Ronda Rousey, being the WWE Raw Women's Champion, was single-handedly what was legitimizing women's sports. Not women's wrestling, sports. And I actually just said, so we're just going to pretend like Venus and Serena Williams don't exist? Like Simone Biles, Shannon Miller, Surya Bonali, Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding, none of those athletes exist, huh? You know? Hope Solo, Rebecca Lobo, Leslie, like women basketball players, soccer players, figure skaters, you know, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Marion, like there's just dozens of female athletes, and it just struck me as incredibly crude and insulting more than it was complimenting them to act like Ronda Rousey holding a staged, predetermined title, legitimizing all of these women in other sports. Like, that really made me mad. Like,
well, you know, because Ronda's a champion now it's real.
Yeah, now, of course. And that's something else. Like, it's they're kind of like, again, it's that one step forward, three steps back WWE stuff they always like to do. By glad-handing and putting all these accolades on Ronda, you are subliminally telling all of your fans, well, yeah, these are good, but now it's real. Now it matters because Ronda has it. Before, it was just, it was okay, but it matters. Now it's real. And that kind of bugs me too. But, you know, that's just me.
well, they're tone deaf, right? Like you see this we're seeing this a lot. Not just in WWE, but in the sports world too. Universities and companies, they take this tone deaf approach to these social issues.
They do,
in favor of money. You see, WWE may say they're all for a women's revolution. However, they don't like to say, like, for some reason in our society, we've associated women's rights with the left. But WWE historically, has their politics have always leaned to the right. They sent The Rock to the GOP in 2000, I think, and the McMahons are like friends with the Trumps, and obviously Linda ran on the right. But the idea, like, for some reasons, as a society, we quantify women's rights with the left. So the WWE is like, oh, we're progressive now, but we're only progressive to take your money, right?
Right.
And
right.
when it comes to Saudi Arabia, we're going to go there because that's where the money is. We don't care about, our political allegiance. We're not loyal to that. We're loyal to the dollar. Same thing at the University of Maryland with this DJ Durkin thing. Did you hear about this?
No, I did not. What's going on here?
It's just another example of the large companies being like tone deaf so they can try and make money. Although I don't know what the money making angle here was. Basically, the football coach at the University of Maryland, under his watch, a player died in the preseason workouts, and it created this huge stir. And an investigation was done, and ultimately the strength and conditioning coach ended up taking the brunt of that, I think, as did the university. But then it came to the point where, do we reinstate the coach now? The answer, the answer is,
they did, didn't they?
The answer is no, you don't, because a player fucking died under his watch.
Yeah,
it's really, and they weren't even good to begin with. They were not a good team to begin with under this guy.
I was gonna say they're not exactly contenders.
No, they're not, and you would know.
Exactly, Roll Tide.
Yeah, Roll Tide.
I'm actually an Auburn fan, but Roll Tide. Whatever.
My dad's a big Alabama fan, so.
Really?
Oh yeah. So awesome. he tells me everything, and so I have limited knowledge of that. Anyways, Maryland, not a great football program, anyways, but for some reason, the board of directors told the president, "You either reinstate this football coach, or we are going to terminate your contract." And so they brought him back for a day. Public backlash was so bad from the student body, from the fans, from the parents of the players, from the players to even the politicians in Maryland. They were all against this decision so much that they had no choice but to then fire the guy the next day. But it doesn't change the fact that they did it. They tried to bring him back, and it was an unconscionably bad decision. And no one will ever understand why they did that. But one day they're going to have to answer. One day they're going to have to answer why, as will the WWE. I mean, we already know why with them, though. They listen.
Oh yeah.
Listen, they got a lot of money, and I mean, we'll see if that continues, though. That's going to be the interesting thing with that whole situation.
Talking online, this younger generation of fans kills me. Because that's what I said. Like, yeah, they got that huge Fox deal, the big that everyone keeps touting. But, everyone says, and that's not based on ratings. Ratings isn't what carries a network anymore or a show anymore. You guys are looking at the wrong numbers. And I said, if you think for 1 minute that Fox or whoever, I think it was Fox, you eat $1 billion just because they want to watch Seth Rollins fight, you're crazy. They're doing it because there's an implied fan base and an implied advertising edge in having their programming. And if their shows are not bringing in eyeballs, you're not generating revenue. And I'm sure there's a fail-safe in that contract where if WWE or what's expected of them, they will get dropped. Like I'm sure of it. Like fans keep trying to tell me, oh yeah, but ratings don't, like they're always going to matter to a degree.
See, that is interesting to me. I don't really know. What you're saying makes sense, but at the same time, Fox and NBC Universal, they're paying for the rights. They want the WWE name to hitch their wagon to for the advertising dollar. Because ultimately, everybody kind of profits from this deal, even with WWE getting all the money that they're getting. That's what they're worth to these networks. The ratings. The thing is, though, the ratings have a floor. Like WWE can put the worst shit on TV, but it's never going to drop below a certain point. Maybe it'll drop a point or two below that point, but not in a significant way to where it's going to really make a difference, I don't think. And then, a good angle might elevate the ratings a little bit, but they're never going to be what they were, and they're never going to be as bad as what they were either at their lowest point. It's going to be somewhere in the middle. So at this point, we as fans, all we can do is just hope for the best.
Now you think about that. How sad is that? This is the most stacked roster private company history, if we're being completely honest. And we're in a position as fans where all we can do is hope for the best. Sad.
I know.
That is a sad state of affairs.
But that's why it's good that they have so many shows. You have options here. You've got Raw, you've got SmackDown, yes, but you've also got 2 brands of NXT, and I'm sure that will continue to expand as the brand expands. Then you got 205 Live, and then you've got all the classic content as well. And then anytime they do like a crossover, so there's a lot to be had there. So.
Yeah, there is. And, I had someone tell me I was obviously old and didn't know what I was talking about when I mentioned advertising and all of that. I guess it comes from the fact that I've worked in advertising, and when I was in radio and multimedia advertising. And I always think to myself, like, there's a fail-safe in there for the investing all this money, when it would just be very, very embarrassing if WWE got over there and kept pulling these lower than Raw in 1995 numbers. Maybe I'm just...
It is pretty sad that, the Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose feud can get Duke the Dumpster Droese numbers.
Yeah. And that's that's my whole thing is, how is this roster, and I know why, because they creative doesn't matter anymore. They're all just wrestler who wrestles. It's not, there are no real clear-cut motivations anymore. Story, art. There are no, like, we don't know whose side, who is on, or I don't know. And when fans show you who they like, you ignore your fans. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, if you would just, I'm not book the show because that would be a cluster, what. But when you've got them showing open arms support for someone, roll with that. Merchandise that. Make that something.
Yeah, absolutely. And to add to that, I think that if WWE did have real stars, it could see their ratings double. Probably.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I don't want to use this as as a means to talk about the power of wrestling, or because it was really a tragic event. But Roman Reigns coming out with leukemia, his leukemia diagnosis, that was something that kind of like brought the entire wrestling fan base around the world to its feet to really back this, and it just kind of shows the footprint that I guess wrestling has around the world, that it's able to make headlines in pretty much every major media news outlet. Number one. And then I'm at the Staples Center for a hockey game last Sunday, and I'm walking around, and they got the TVs that say concert coming next week and game happening tomorrow. Well, they also had a slide that said "Get well soon, Roman Reigns." So I thought that was pretty cool. But it just goes to show that wrestling has a pretty wide radius of effect on the world. And with stars and talent that actually matters, I feel like there's a big ceiling that maybe I don't know. I think there's a lot of space to grow to, even today.
Absolutely. And what we see today with all the major news outlets acknowledging and everything, this is like the culmination of what Vince started building with the first WrestleMania, because he did wrestling here. He wanted to have his people walking red carpets, and I'm sure he jumps for joy at Bella having a decently rated show on the E network. And because they pull in decent ratings. They get like millions of, I mean, it's only decent because it's compared to like the Kardashians, and the Kardashians are just like a monolith of reality television. If it was just divas, the numbers, it would be substantial. That's the only reason I say decent numbers, is because when you set it side by side with something like that, but I mean, and if you look, Nikki Bella has like 10 million Twitter followers, 10 million Instagram. He has a reach. John Cena has a reach. People know who. I don't know that the Bellas are quite there yet. I think of the Ronda Rousey, of course, would be the best known, and probably then maybe the Bellas. But they're on their way to being red carpet fixtures like John Cena and The Rock. And that is all based on the foundation that Vince McMahon built in like 1984.
Yeah. Well, okay, if Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey are John Cena and The Rock, I would argue that Becky Lynch is pretty close to being Stone Cold.
Yeah. I feel like the only thing that keeps Becky being a bigger star is the fact that WWE doesn't seem to want her to be. I don't know if I've already brought up this little statistic that drives me. It's something that I've brought up a few times. The Bellas have 16 shirts on WWE shop. Becky Lynch, the SmackDown, has 2. Ronda Rousey, their marketing push has like 2. So it's just, if you have to invest in the people, you have to let them become big stars. You can't mute the crowd. You can't creatively edit to cut off crowd pops. You're being given a baby face organically. Roll with it. Market it. Those goggles that she used to wear. Sell different last kicker shirts. Whatever you have to do, market it. But yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But it seems that the more WWE denies her, the more the fans get behind her. No, I don't think that this is a case of WWE saying, let's keep doing this so the fan support grows. I
don't think they're on it that much.
Yeah. With Daniel Bryan, it was a similar deal where they didn't want him to really break out, and then he just did. And they were like, oh well.
And they fought that every step of the way too.
Yep.
They
Yep.
fought CM Punk every step of the way. You know, CM Punk, it was the same thing. And a lot of what he said in his quote pipe bomb still rings true today. Vince McMahon is a millionaire who should be a multi-billionaire. His company, in spite of Vince McMahon, not because of him at this point.
Well, I'm pretty sure he is like a billionaire at this point.
Probably because that Fox deal probably put him back over. Yeah.
Fox and Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah. I keep tuning out the Saudi Arabia. Like, I refuse to watch the Crown Jewel. I had people asking me if I was going to live tweet it because I live tweet pay-per-view. Like, no.
That's okay. I just think that when it comes to that, the card is such where why are they not giving this to their American audiences? You know, the people that, you know, are always there for your product and don't commit acts of civil just unruliness and are actually like with the times
or treat women like
exactly.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
Like cities like Los Angeles, New York, Philadelphia, Dallas, Chicago. Yeah, like these are the places you should be putting these cards on. That's the type of stuff you should be bringing Shawn Michaels out of retirement for, not Saudi Arabia, just because they're giving you a shitload of money. Like that's such a horrible look.
It is, and I mean honestly, 2 60-year-old men crotch chopping is a horrible. So it is what it is. But I mean, that card that card appealed to me. Nothing. I don't care to see Hulk Hogan. Yeah, no, I don't care to see DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. I feel like I have seen those matches ad nauseum for 25 years. Like, no, or 20 years. I've been watching it. And I was a freshman in high school in 97. Yes, I'm old. But come on. Like, I give them that. Go ahead. But I mean, this is also coming from Saudis who, when making requests, asked and the Ultimate Warrior. So that tells you where their knowledge of the current product is.
Seriously.
See, if I was Vince McMahon, I would have just dressed somebody up as Yokozuna, like dressed up as the Ultimate Warrior. Just put Charlotte Flair in one of those like singlets that Ultimate Warrior used to wear and tease her hair out and just paint her face up. Send her out there. She could do it. Actually, she would actually probably do the Ultimate Warrior's moveset better than the Ultimate Warrior. So yeah, throw Charlotte out there.
Yeah, she'd sell too much though.
True. She's way too good at selling. She's way too believable a seller. But yeah, could have snuck the women into the show. They should have just backdoored it, and dressed them up as other people. Let Bayley come out dressed up as the Macho Man. Do it. Get her to find out wherever Hulk Hogan used that weird fake black beard he used to wear as Hollywood Hogan. Get some of that. Put that on Bayley. Put her in a Macho Man. There you go. That's who you want. There you go.
That would be an improvement, I think.
Yeah. Like, you don't want women on the show? Fine. We'll just dress the women up, throw them out there. I think it'd be great.
What if Bayley's new gimmick was doing what Jay Lethal did with the Macho Man character? But it sort of became, like, over time, became like a serious character also. Because he did it so well.
Yeah, I know. He's so good at it. Like, amazing. I love him.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I see. For me, I like the World Cup concept. I don't know why they called it that. I think all the participants are actually American.
Yeah, I think so. There might have been a Canadian in there, but I don't think so.
Well, let's think. It was Angle, Miz, Ziggler, Rollins, Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, Orton, And then who's the eighth
Oh.
guy? I don't know, but that's 7.
Do you know who won the World Cup?
I don't. I saw something about Shane McMahon coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what
I won't
happened with
spoil
that.
it for you, but it is one of those that you're just gonna go, really?
All right, I'm gonna
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but that's going to be your reaction. I promise. When you see
Okay,
who it was. Yeah.
all right. I also saw that. I saw that Brock Lesnar got the title back, which I guess makes sense because it's probably better for Braun to get the rub of beating Lesnar after a chase than to have him just win it outright like that. If because
Do you think that's what's going to happen? Because I figure they're just going to keep it on Brock, and and whenever he'll probably not be on TV or a pay per view until Roman comes back, and then Roman will come back and beat Brock for it. That's what.
well, when's Roman coming back? No one
Oh
knows.
God, it could be a year from now, but
Could
yeah,
be
that's
two.
what I
Could be
mean. I
two.
could see Brock taking it
Could be two
and
years.
shooting deer. Yeah, it could be.
That's kind of where I'm at. You know, leukemia and cancer and uh, radiation therapy. You know, that stuff takes a lot of time, and to go through that, you pretty much break your body down to the point where you lose all muscular tone, pretty much, and you have to kind of work to build that back. So then that's just another more time added to that. He's going to be out a while.
Yeah, he is.
I hope that he comes back because
He's way
as
too young for this to be. And whether the fans like him or not, he has worked his ass off, and he
yeah
deserves to get a run. I'm
yeah
with him being the Universal Champ. Like I've never hated Roman Reigns the way a lot of people do.
oh I did I totally
He's
did
not my
but
favorite, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe because he's from Pensacola and that's like right next door to where I'm from, so I feel like all right, yeah, semi hometown, go do it. Woo.
is that like on the Panhandle?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, ish. It's Gulf Coast, like
Okay.
yeah, Gulf of Mexico, like yeah, an hour plus inland from the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
Not quite down on the Panhandle, closer to the Pan.
I see. I see. I see. Let me think here. Yeah, the thing about that, the whole Roman Reigns leukemia thing was that was the best promo he ever cut. And I'll tell you what, it came from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
It was truly him talking, and you can see it on his face if you watch it back. He comes out there and he looks around the crowd, and it's like he's kind of taking in the booze for one last time because he knows that for what he's about to say, all of that is going to go away, and it's probably never coming back.
It's
Um,
true.
he's a character that's really gone through some adversity. So, if and when he does come back,
Oh, that welcome back pop is going to be thunderous.
Mm-hmm. And he deserves it.
He does, and I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, and it's something that he's been battling for a very, very long time. So it must have been very frustrating for him having gone through what he's gone through for people to have no idea about it and just boo him for being this entitled dude.
The first thing I thought was, my God, he's been dealing with this for 11 years and no one knew. It's never come up. And I can't believe WWE didn't utilize that in some way because it just seems like something they do. But to hear that and to know, like, because player at Pensacola High School, like he was a jock, his name was pretty consistently in the press locally for athlete, and to know that because he's I think 28, maybe 30 now.
He's 33.
33. Okay, I was gonna say that wasn't okay for me. It wasn't that long ago. For the younger fans, it's ages ago. But for 10 years of his life, basically late teens all the way through his 20s, he's been fighting with this. And so that was all during the FCW time. That was God only knows. God only knows like what he's been dealing with for the several years he's been connected to WWE. Fans just brutally dragging him. And it always makes me wonder, do any of these fans who have said such horrendous, horrible things to stop to think like, oh God, that's a real person and I told him to go die. Oh man.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope that's a big pet peeve of mine. I've been told a million times, well, if you don't like Nikki Bella, you can kill yourself. Like,
Well,
I'll do that.
for a heel, that's the ultimate compliment. The problem is they never want him to be a heel when he probably would have been good at it. And as far as him not being a bigger star than he is, WWE is no one to blame but themselves, as far as I'm concerned.
True.
Because
he should have been the one, and it shouldn't have been Rollins. It should have been him, because just the way he looks, because he has, and I'm sorry, I kept, you're not a real fan because you say this, but he is so sexy. He has that hot, hunky, good-looking guy face. And women love him. And granted, I happen to have a little mini crush on everybody in the Shield. All three. But Roman is the one that just, the long flowing hair and just the natural look on his face, just he exudes a cockiness that could totally be played into being an arrogant heel. We need suffering succotash. We didn't need all that. What we needed was for him to say, I don't need any of y'all. Yeah. Do you see me? Do you? Yes, I am. Hate me. I'm still going to win. I'm still the best here. And I think that would have just, I think fans would have really sunk their teeth into that. Yeah. They wanted to hate him. Let him,
Yeah, and that would have made Ambrose and Rollins bigger baby faces.
Absolutely.
If you remember when Rollins turned, Ambrose and Reigns were big baby faces for a couple weeks. And then Roman got hurt. Dean carried on with the momentum, and then the feud ended, and then he went off with Bray Wyatt, and that was pretty much the end of him. As tends to happen with people who feud with Bray Wyatt. And then Roman comes
back. Which in and of
and
itself is just an absolute shame. Bray Wyatt has been done.
Yeah. And then Roman comes back, and then it becomes quickly apparent what's going on with what they think of him, the WWE right. That is, and the fans just weren't having it. And then the Royal Rumble in Philly, I didn't go to I was living in the city at the time. I couldn't get a ticket to the event, but I was watching on my TV, and I was just so mad. I was seething mad when he won.
I think we all.
And that was because, one, I thought Daniel Bryan would have been a better play. Turns out, maybe not, because he ended up getting that concussion like 2 months later. But the guy I was really pulling for there was Ziggler, because he got the pin at Survivor Series, and he defeated.
And he was riding that momentum. Yeah.
He defeated the Authority, and then he got lumped in with Ryback, and he was done. And that was the last time we ever took him seriously as a main eventer.
Yep, absolutely. And after that Survivor Series thing where Ziggler was the sole survivor, the crowd ate it up. They wanted him there. They wanted him in that position. And if ever there was a time to pull the trigger on giving Dolph Ziggler a Royal Rumble win, that was it. Yeah. The fans would have absolutely gone for it. But instead, they zagged when they should have zigged.
No, especially you add the momentum of everybody and their mother knowing WWE's going to try and make Reigns win that. Mm-hmm. And then the surprise of him not winning it would have been huge. Plus, it was the time to do it with Ziggler. And not only did he get eliminated, but he got eliminated with the Big Show's punch, and then he just got like dump trucked out of the ring. It was very
unceremonious.
Oh yeah, I was that really got me mad. And then at the end, with them bringing The Rock out, and he's raising his hand, and everybody's booing, and And The Rock's just looking around like puzzled.
Yeah, like, no, you love me. You're supposed to cheer for me. Sorry, bro. Not even you can save this dumpster fire.
Right, and apparently he was legitimately hot about that. I don't know who he could have been mad at, though.
I was just about to say, who Vince, or was he mad at Vince for putting him out there and throwing him in the line of fire? Because Vince put him in the line of fire and made him cannon fodder. You know, not the fans.
Yeah, I don't know, but he was pretty upset. Anyways, that's the Battle of Roman Reigns, and I haven't really gotten the chance to talk about this yet, but I hope he recover. I hope he can beat this. People beat leukemia before, and they've come back stronger than ever.
Yep. And if ever there was someone who was good health, who is in good shape, and who is committed to taking care of himself, it would be someone like Roman Reigns, who eats well, works, and could stick to whatever regimen is necessary. Like, he's perfect for sticking to something like that. Clearly a tough SOB.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look at the NFL right now. James Conner of the Steelers, when he was playing at Pitt, he had cancer. I don't know if it was leukemia, but he ended up undergoing a radiation therapy, beat it, and then now is like the best version of himself. And then Andrew McMahon, the musician, going on to have a successful career. Connor had Hodgkin's lymphoma, but
okay, still,
wow. still,
brutal.
It can be done. That's all I'm saying, and I hope he does it, because it would be one of the more unique stories we've ever seen in wrestling. And I know he seems to be a good guy behind the scenes too. He does.
Yeah.
It is fun to hate him, though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna miss that, because now it's gonna be impossible to.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'd never had like that vitriolic hatred for him. I was just like, yeah, he kind of sucks, but whatever.
Well, you can't have wrestling without a little hate.
Sucks, whatever.
That's the name of the game.
Boo. There were people I hated more. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's out of the way. Let's talk about what we're here for, and that's the Mae Young Classic. Now, we both agreed that since the freshest thing in our minds is the quarterfinals, we can just focus on that. And I forget. I don't have our bracket pulled up right in front of me, but
I'm literally pulling it up right now.
Okay. There was some stuff that I ended up being right on to a point, and then there were a couple things I was just dead wrong on. But I think we both had Toni Storm over Io Shirai in the finals.
I think so, yeah.
We did. We agreed on that. Mako Satomura had the big run that I think neither of us really saw coming. I thought she was just there to do a job, because I hadn't really seen her wrestle. Satomura, by the way, wrestled in WCW.
Really?
She's been around that long. But I thought that I wasn't aware that she was just this name in the Japanese independents. I thought she was just going to be there to put a strapping young upstart like Killer Kelly over, or at worst lose to Mercedes Martinez, who made the quarterfinals last year. Was it the semis? Even I think she made the semis last year. Mercedes did. But no, she beats Killer Kelly. She beats Mercedes Martinez. And then she faces off at Lacey Lane in the quarterfinals, pretty much an unknown, but someone who's stuck out to me a lot. So someone that I thought could make a little bit of a run. And she did. She made the quarterfinals. And they said in the broadcast that she'd only been wrestling less than a year up to that point.
Whoa.
Well, that's pretty good.
I didn't know that.
And they had a fun match.
Okay.
She and Satomura did. Very short, but told a great story. Hell of a story. And then looking at the rest of the bracket, I had Nicole Matthews making a big run. Tegan Knox actually ended up beating her. And then one of the big stories of this tournament was the Tegan Knox knee injury.
Yeah, that was a real that was a kick in the knee. Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
That was a real kick in the. She was killing it.
The problem the problem with wrestling though is that you never know when it's a shoot and when it's a work. In pro sports, it's not they're not working. They're not going to work the fans, right? But in wrestling, there's also a story to be told. Like we saw this with Seth Rollins when he came back from the knee injury. He pretty much they sold the knee buckling on him in pretty much every match for like the next 6 months after he came back. So you just never know. And it didn't look like she came down too awkwardly on it. It was almost like a back bump to the floor on the front side.
Yeah.
She did land knee first. And it was also not the injured knee that came out, but it was the healthy knee. And she ended up saying that it kind of exploded on her, and she kind of felt it right away. It was just really selling the pain. But again, you never know. And then she tried to work for about another minute or two, and was just really, really struggling. And if it was a work, it was the greatest sell job in the world. But it definitely was. It quickly became apparent that was not the case. And Rhea Ripley ended up going over due to a doctor stoppage.
Yeah, see, I a Ripley mark after this. Like, I have fallen in love with her. She is one of my favorites. Do it.
So have they.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by a few things. Like, I've pulled up the results, like, by and large, and I was really surprised that he didn't go further. And I'm really surprised that Madison Rayne or Ashley Rayne didn't go further. Like, that kind of surprised me. But
that didn't surprise me too much because
I thought it was kind of lousy that Allison Kay was lost in the first round, but they put Caitlyn through to the second round. Like, I get it. They were trying to make a little comeback story for Caitlyn, but like, I felt like Kavita Devi could have done more, and I'm hoping that she comes back. Felt like that was just time wasted for Kavita to lose to Caitlyn in what really wasn't much of a match.
4 minutes long.
Yeah, it was a nothing match, and it was a waste of her time and her talent. You know.
Well, I feel like they had to put Caitlyn over one time.
Why?
Because that's a storyline, and with tournaments, it's all about building storylines in each part of the bracket. So you have Satomura up at the top, this veteran just storming through the tournament, and then you have Io Shirai, one of the favorites, and then Toni Storm's success last year. And then you have Caitlyn, who's coming back after a long layoff. She was actually a diva, now coming back to be in this wrestling tournament. And so you couldn't just have her be there and go away immediately. Have her win one match and then put her up with Mia Yim and just get beat. That's it.
I think that was you said it. She was a diva, and it was that kind of like stuck in my craw a little bit. Like, once again, one step forward, two steps back. Like, and if anyone looking like a diva, it is Miss 40 grand on plastic surgery.
I know.
Her boobs entered the ring 16 minutes before. Like, her breasts were in the ring half an hour before she was even out of the back.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Hey, I like Caitlyn's breasts.
Well, you're supposed to. You're supposed. To be fair, as a former stripper who has seen lots and lots and lots of boobies in my day, they're done well. Like, it's not a bot. I've seen some really raggedy ones. So, hey, they look good. I think what cracks me up is, like, they don't move. Two wooden salad bowls stuck down there, like, literally takes a bump, and it's like two elbows sticking.
Oh my god. It's like Napoleon Dynamite where Uncle Rico takes the Tupperware and he puts them on the chick's chest.
Yes.
And then Rex Kwando comes in and he's like, yeah.
Exactly.
Except those are her actual boobs. But I can assure you that they are not salad bowls. I've seen them not in real life, but maybe on a video a time or two. It's out there. Anywho,
her, because there's a lot of faked stuff out there, and she, as much as I kind of poke fun at her, she does not the type to be careless and let stuff get out there like that about her, because she's young, she's pretty, but she's always kind of been like a one. She hasn't ever been in any scandals or portrayed herself in that way. So I've heard that there's wonder if that's actually her, because there was an issue with something of mine, like my face got put on. Somebody was like, "Oh, I saw a video of you," and I'm like, yeah, that chick has a huge dragon tattoo on her arm, and I do not." So yeah, but
with the innovation of Snapchat in recent years, now it's super easy to do that. You can just put someone else's face on your face.
That's terrifying.
Or you can put someone else's face on someone else's face, which is even worse.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent.
Yeah, me neither.
Continuing on in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, so the Tegan Knox for Ripley match. It's really too bad what happened to Tegan. She had really sold me throughout the tournament as being, one, this comeback story, two, she's really pretty, three, I like her voice. I developed like this crush on her throughout this time, and then
she's great. She's great. A lot of her too. I if you'll remember, I was all for Nicole Matthews. I was a Nicole Matthews cheerleader, and when she lost, I was like, well, at least it's to Tegan Knox. At least it's to like someone else that I can totally like get behind.
Right. Well, then I later found out that Nicole Matthews was having visa issues.
Oh.
And she might not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's probably not going to be back in America for a long time. Sadly.
Same.
I mean, that may have changed, but that was the last I saw of it.
Man, I hope that gets resolved, because that would be a loss to women's wrestling, because she is she could be a star, like a real star, and I hope she gets. I really do.
Yeah, especially with the WWE machine behind her.
Yeah, I would think if she can, if she gets the right eyes on her, and in Orlando they want her, Vinnie Mac Money and lawyers can work that out for her. Jerry McDevitt.
Yeah. And then we had Toni Storm versus Mia Yim,
which I was excited about, because they're two of my favorite indie ladies.
They had a great match that seemed that it was a lot longer than it was.
I know it did. It felt like it lasted longer than it did.
Yeah, and then
that's just because they're both good workers.
Oh yeah, they're great. And Mia Yim now has a contract.
Yes, she does, which is outstanding. I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, they released one of those videos where Triple H is like, they demanded it. We're gonna sign you. And you know what I'm talking about?
Pat Triple H on the back. Yes, he and Stephanie are the world's worst about that, aren't they? Like, well, the fans wanted it, so I made it so.
Yeah.
All women's pay-per-view.
It's funny that it always has to be on video.
Of course. Of course.
I mean, if you can do it, why not? So that's great. That's good news for her. I'm sure she'll be appearing on NXT soon. NXT Women's Division really reloading, which is good to see. And then Io Shirai and Deonna Purrazzo, the significant other of one Marty Scurll.
Yeah.
They had a good match too, as expected. Jenna, how would you compare and contrast Shirai with Kairi Sane?
Kairi Sane aesthetic standpoint, I think the clincher with Kyrie is that she comes across as this cute little animal life with the steering wheel and the looking glass and saluting ahoy, and she's so cute and she looks so delicate, and then she gets in the ring and then she is a kicker. It's like a switch flips as soon as like she puts her treasure chest down and she puts her steering wheel down. Whereas Io Shirai, she's pretty, but she doesn't put on any airs. She's like, no, I'm here to win, and she doesn't time as far as like I could see Io Shirai veering off into a little bit of maybe a heel role, just because she seems like she's takes care of business. All right, I'm done. Whereas Kyrie is a little more showmanship.
Yes.
I don't want to just say showmanship, but because they're both excellent at selling and they're both great at offense. But yeah, I think now in the ring they can both go. I think that Io Shirai is better as far as like ground attack. I think her aerial moves are incredible as well. Like I said it to someone else, like I wonder if she doesn't have a background in gymnastics. Her moonsaults are absolutely beautiful, like gorgeous. Like it looks like a gymnast would like a disc beautiful. Whereas Kyrie can fly, but not like that.
Mm-hmm.
So showmanship and more straight to the point for Io, I think.
Yeah. For me,
they'd be a great tag team if we'd ever get that women's division tag team. It would be almost unstoppable, I think.
Well, I think they've done that before, if I'm not mistaken. For me, the difference really is Shirai has like the mean streak, really. Kyrie is more babyface showmanship, absolutely. Shirai, I do get more of an aggressive vibe from her, and that's fine. Kyrie is such a good seller, anyways, and so is Shirai. It's just a little bit different. It's kind of like in Mario, whereas Mario is a little faster than Luigi, but Luigi can jump higher.
Right.
That's really what you're getting with those two. Shirai, a great high flyer, influenced by Rey Mysterio. She even does the 619.
She does, and she does it well. It looks good.
Yeah.
I kind of popped for that.
But I agree with you. Whereas I see Sane as more of a career babyface.
Yeah.
I see Shirai, being able to feud with her, or like at some point. Like Absolutely. For example, if they want to,
she would be if they were a tag team and they split. It would be Io Shirai to be the backstabber.
Yep.
She would be the one to turn, as it were. Yeah.
Agreed, and it could happen. I think that both those women would have trouble on the main roster today. That could change, but how long is Shayna Baszler for NXT?
I had a pet theory. I had a pet theory about Shayna Baszler too. I think they are trying to tie her to the NXT brand for a while, for the foreseeable future. And I got a lot of hate for this, but I think that so far she has taken to pro wrestling better than Ronda. Not to say that Ronda's not doing well. She is. But Shayna I think she is more charismatic. I think she embraces her character more. She promos, and she just seems more sure of herself. Ronda seems like she wants to come across in promos. Like sometimes it's mean, scowly face Ronda, and sometimes it's I'm just so here, Ronda. And I don't think she quite knows which lane she wants to go in. Whereas Shayna has picked her spot. This is what I'm doing, and she is absolutely rolling with it. And I don't think they want her on the main roster because I think face to face, even with WWE steamrolling everybody, Ronda's the best, Ronda's the best. The diehard fans are going to say, yeah, but Shayna's a little better right now. Maybe that's just me. And again, that's just right now. A year from now could be completely different. Ronda could be the most dominant, truly amazing athlete on the roster. But right now, Shayna is the better of the two.
You should make that an article. I mean that. That's it's a bold take, but it's not one that I don't think is untrue, or I think is untrue. It's not one that I think is untrue. Shayna has long been a pro wrestling fan too, and
it shows.
It would have been good for her if she got into it a little bit faster than she did, but she's just got it. Like she got to where she is now in such a short amount of time, and it shows. Real student of the game is Shayna.
And I look at presentation too, like even something as simple as ring gear and the whole like Queen of Spades thing, like when she stands in the ring and she just holds up the hand gesture, and she's really gone out of her way to acclimate ring gear. And like when she walks out and the way she looks at the crowd and just shoulders back, chest out, chin up, just, and I honestly, and maybe it's just me, but Ronda sometimes, it's not that she doesn't come across as confident, but she doesn't come across as defiant as Shayna. Shayna just feels like, even though everyone knows she's an ass kicker, it's like she feels like she's still got to prove it to you. Like, no, you don't understand. No, I am a badass. Let me show you. And it just, I every promo and every match, I feel like she feels like she's still got something to prove. And I feel more watching her. I'm going to have to write about this. Yeah.
You should. You really should.
I
will. It's not something that I think people are saying enough, but you might be onto something there. I don't know. And then also the idea of how they don't want her to steal Ronda's thunder is interesting too.
Yeah.
Maybe the inclusion, and we'll get to the inclusion of her new goons. But maybe that
Jessamine Duke and
Marina. Yeah. Maybe that's a telltale sign that maybe she is here to stay. I don't know.
I'm okay with that. She has really grown on me. I like her a lot. I do. I think Shayna's a kick-ass chick.
Yeah,
she actually liked one of my tweets. I just said, like, if you don't think Shayna's the real deal, you're lying to yourself. She liked it.
That's good.
Like, yeah.
See,
acknowledgement.
See, Shayna, for me, the first time I was introduced to her was on The Ultimate Fighter. She was Ronda's first-round draft pick that season, and I think that was how they met. But Shayna came across on screen as just this real arrogant individual. But from all fan interactions I've heard, she couldn't be further from that. So that tells me that she was more portraying a pro wrestling persona, which tells me that she's gotten it long before her time.
Yeah, I was going to say I've heard a few fan interactions, and everyone says that she is so nice and incredibly gracious, and thanks them for supporting. Like, so yeah, you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think she, in her mind, had an idea of a wrestling type character and wanted to create that for herself, even back then.
Yeah, and remember, she was trained in catch wrestling by Billy Robinson, who himself was
Billy
a professional
Robinson,
wrestler.
Yeah.
So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. No question about it.
That explains a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. But moving on to the semis, we didn't really get to see much of Rhea Ripley in the quarters, as that match was cut short. And I happen to wonder what the plan was in that match. Would Tegan have gone over if she hadn't gotten hurt?
I don't know.
I have a conspiracy
see either
theory.
One moving forward. What is your conspiracy theory?
I think that Tegan was supposed to win that match, but I think because of the way that Rhea handled that situation on the fly, and then the match she had with Shirai, that kind of gave Triple H the idea. This is our NXT UK champion.
I can see that. I can totally see that. Yeah, because she much more experienced. Like things
She's 22.
happen.
She's 22, and she handled that masterfully. And the
God,
funny
they're
thing
all
is,
so young. God.
I know. She's they have her listed at 5'8". She seems a lot taller than that, though.
I said the same thing. I would think, because Charlotte Flair is what, like 5'10"?
Yeah,
I think, and I was like, I see her going like nose to nose with Charlotte. Like she has long legs. I think she's taller than that.
I could have sworn in last year's tournament they had her at 6 foot. I could have sworn, but now she's 5'8". So I don't know. I need to dig into that some more. But look, she had a great match with Shirai. I mean, it's not hard to. Shirai, arguably one of the best female workers in the world.
And yeah, can if you look good, it's because you suck.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, both Shirai and Kairi Sane, and then Asuka could all lay claim probably to best worker, man or woman. You know, if you ask me, I mean, definitely top 10, top 15.
Yeah, well, Rhea Ripley on her wiki is listed at 5'8".
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She doesn't seem
like she's already like under the WWE banner. Like all of this is WWE. So again, you know, WWE also marketed Shawn Michaels as 6'2" for years.
Yeah.
I'm taller than Shawn Michaels, for God's sake.
God damn, where did I see that she was 6 foot? One cage match. Cage match has her that way the year before. 5'7".
Well, dang it.
So that would imply that WWE is exaggerating her height. But yeah. I mean, then how tall is Tegan Nox? Because she towered over her.
Tegan's 5'6". Tegan Nox is 6. Yeah.
Huh. The interesting thing about Rhea and Tegan Nox is
5'6".
Tegan. Yeah. 5'6". Tegan Nox is going to be out for some time. You know what happened to her with the kneecap and the torn ligaments in her knee. That's a good year at least.
Yeah.
To rehab that thing. But what you see pretty much everywhere that Rhea Ripley goes, she's still ripping Tegan Nox for getting hurt during that match. And that's interesting to me. But she's doing well by her persona, I have to say.
Yep, and she's keeping. I respect Tegan Nox's name out there by doing that.
That's true.
Because 6-8 months a year when you're not fully and be forgotten, and if she constantly says, "Oh well, Tegan Nox, who is she? She got hurt." Da 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 da. Yeah, she's insulting her, but people are going, "Oh yeah," and can't forget you if people won't let people forget you.
That's a very shrewd argument, and if she can come back from this, they're gonna do some good stuff over in the UK.
Yep, she'll have a great person to get her back in the swing of things.
No doubt. And then on the other match, it was Storm versus Satomura. Storm just kind of took the approach that, she was like this inexperienced competitor, and that sort of served her well in this match against the most experienced competitor in the tournament.
Yeah, it did.
That was pretty much the story here. Great match. I thought this was one of the best matches of the main draw. I mean, I thought the finals was probably the best match. As expected, you get the two best workers and the two biggest names in the final. But of course, we'll get to that. But I thought Storm and Satomura had a great match as well. Interesting thing about the finals of this year's Mae Young Classic. In each semifinal, it was Japan versus Australia.
I'll be damned. It sure was.
That's right. And, I have to believe that Toni Storm now in NXT UK will be chasing Rhea Ripley for the championship, and they're going to do some good stuff. With their combined age being like 44 years old.
Right.
Freaking incredible. And so great because they've taken two very different paths to getting to where they've gotten.
And it's nice to see, because, back in the day, American wrestling used to be that promotion to promotion and learn a skill here. Like Chris Jericho always said, going to Germany, he learned how to put on different matches night after night. In Japan, he learned how to work with a language barrier, and then working in Jim Cornette's, he got better at promos and like just all as he was putting these parts together to create this ultimate Chris Jericho wrestler. And you don't see that as much in America. WWE is such a massive monolith, and you have NXT and you have WWE are flourishing again, but we're not quite in a point where people can truly hone themselves to be able to. And it looks like overseas that's starting to happen again. Toni Storm and everyone working outside is starting to be able to do that. Go to different promotions, go to different countries, and really build up a Chris Jericho-esque resume.
Yeah. And the fact that she's done at her age is incredible. But I think she's one of those people that like is fueled by the fear of failure. Those types of personalities come along only so often. But anytime you watch an interview with her talking about her career, she's always saying, wrestling is all I have, and this is the only way I'm going to be successful in this life. And when you have that, you can be capable of really great things.
That I've heard. I didn't much. I'd seen an interview with her where she said that, and I thought maybe that was her being in character. Being like the glass of Mountain Dew is half empty for a second. Like that is what can fuel at the same time. It's what can destroy you, because if you put all of your eggs into that, like look at Paige. Paige was like that. This is all I've got. She got hurt and Paige is like 25, 26, maybe.
Yeah.
And she was lucky to be a full-timer in WWE. And so they were able to say, okay, well, we're going to give you this on-screen role. We're going to keep you in the public eye. Storm got that injury right now. Even though she's signed to NXT UK, she's not likely to have that net to catch her. And I hope for her sake that is character driven and kayfabe, because damn it, girl, read a book, get you an education. Don't let this be all you got.
Yeah.
I love Toni, and I just hear that. I'm probably just getting sucked into the kayfabe, so I'm just going to stop. But yeah, she's awesome.
The concern seems legitimate there. But those are like the special. That's how the special kinds of athletes out there are born. It's the ones that put everything they have into what they're doing, and have the talent to go with it. And when you put those two things together, that's how you crush a diamond.
That's true.
At the end of the day. But so yeah, that's the semis. And now we can move on to the Evolution show, which was very interesting. I'm looking at the poster right now, and gosh, I have to say, well, first off, before I say what I have to say, there was a joke on Reddit saying that AJ Styles made the Evolution folding chair, because you know how they give away those promotional folding chairs,
Yeah.
And it's got like the event poster on it. Well, AJ Styles made the folding chair. He's the only man to get on the Evolution folding chair because there was an ad on it for WWE 2K.
So it was all the chicks.
It was
AJ.
all the chicks, and then a picture of the 2K cover.
AJ has a woman's haircut, so it works.
He does. He and Renee Young used to have the same haircut, as Kevin Owens pointed out in a promo. Man, I miss Kevin Owens.
God, yeah, like WWE they stole his thunder too. Feeding him to Goldberg like that was a joke.
Kind of, but at the same time, we got Kevin Owens versus Goldberg. Not in a million years, 5 years ago, did I ever think that was in the realm of possible outcomes.
I never wanted it.
I know, me neither, but we got it. So
I want Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns in a real match versus AJ Styles. I wanted Kevin Owens versus Neville, damn it, because that's how I fell in love with Kevin Owens, was watching Kevin Steen on one of my old Pro Wrestling Guerrilla DVDs. And I said for years, I want both of these boys to make it to WWE, and I was so excited. That's what I wanted.
did they not wrestle in NXT?
I'm sure they did, but not the same. They didn't get to put. I don't think they put on any barn burners.
Oh yeah, they actually. So they did wrestle in NXT a handful of times. Neville first fought Owens in NXT. What was it? He first fought him to get some retribution for Sami Zayn at the end of 2014. And then when Owens went to Raw with his NXT championship, he was doing open challenges to mock John Cena, and Neville answered one of those.
Well, okay then.
And I think they've wrestled on Raw more times than that too.
Sure, they have.
But I understand what you're saying. Like a proper,
just nothing truly memorable.
Like a proper 20-minute classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can truly show what both of these guys can do.
Right. Anyways, I'm looking at this pay-per-view poster. Ronda has got to lose the kilt. I'm telling you, she looks like a tilted kilt waitress. I understand what she's doing. She either gotta lose the kilt, or have it be an actual kilt, and not like the sexy mini skirt. Because just I don't know. There's something off-putting about that.
See, I
don't know.
I don't like it's been drilled into our head. Piper. She loved Roddy Piper. Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Rowdy. She needs her own ring gear and bras and awkwardly fitting biker shorts. She needs, and that's not me being catty, but the first couple of matches she had at WrestleMania, she spent more time adjusting her bottoms than she did executing wrestling.
She's always been that way. She, in her first UFC fight ever, she was having a wardrobe malfunction with her bra.
Okay,
while she was fighting Liz Carmouche, and she was on top of her, and then she almost had a nip slip in the cage.
There's stuff that fits you, man. I know, showing skin is part of it, but come on, you've got money. Invest in. I mean, honestly, look at some of your more well-endowed wrestlers like Nikki Bella with her big balloony store-bought. Looks like she's wearing a bra with a sports bra over it, plus the tie-up top laced up over it. She's got them girls all the way in. Once again, as a chick with big boobs, rope them puppies in. Lord have mercy. Just tie them anywhere. Just tie them down.
Yeah.
But maybe fidgeting with her gear is a bit of one of her nervous fidget. I don't know. But I actually like the mini skirt version of the kilt. I just think they should. They either need to make it slimmer fit so that it looks more like a schoolgirl skirt. be hotter. Like, and I
it already is hot. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just
considering that her hair and makeup team fail her regular basis.
Yeah, they still do.
Oh my God, the Mantar makeup from, oh Lord. Like,
one time I think she looked
like,
I think she was like cosplaying as the Black Swan.
No one got that. I got Mantar. That's what I saw was Mantar.
Yeah.
I expected her to moo as she put someone in the armbar. But yeah, like her hair and her hairstyle is like, and that was something that was a bit of an issue with the women to begin with, because apparently she brought quote unquote glam squad. That was a rumor, and that she wouldn't use the WWE's hair and makeup team. And it shows, because if you look at Alexa and Becky and Charlotte, they're all glammed to the gods. And then Ronda comes out there like she let a first year makeup artist go nuts.
Yeah.
And like, you're the biggest. And I understand if she doesn't want to do like the full on false lashes, heavy lipstick, heavy bronzer, contour, all that. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Somebody who is a legitimate pro put your face on for you. Because under those lights, it gives you away. You can done well.
Well, maybe one day someone will get her a mirror.
And just quit braiding random sections of hair with that. Like, every pay-per-view, it looks like she's got like 8 or 9 like itty bitty teeny tiny braids that just meander. Like, what is that? Like, I'd understand if it was like holding hair out of her face, like if she was just doing she had like lots and lots of layers in her hair and needed a way to just pin it all back. But her hair is like waist length almost, like, and roll. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's just me being a girl, but it's just like her look isn't. I feel like if she got ring gear that fit her better, and hair and makeup that and made her look as good as she really does look, like, that would come a long way with her presentation.
Agreed.
Anyway.
Yeah, we've got the commentary team from the Mae Young Classic. It's Michael Cole, Renee Young, and Beth Phoenix. I almost said Natalia. But Beth was very good on commentary throughout. Both the classic and this event. He was outstanding, as I expected. Renee Young, I've said this before. I don't think Renee Young's any good on commentary. I think she's just there because she's better than Jonathan Coachman with Raw. Yeah. I mean, but also she's there because she's the most popular female non-wrestler in the company.
Yeah, and she, like, I like Renee Young, but at first I thought, wow, she's really sharp. She's smart, and she is an educated woman, and she's not dumb.
Yeah.
But just about every time in that broadcast position, she says something that is just almost unforgivably stupid. And I'm just like, where is this? What? And after seeing her on Total Divas, and I'm like, okay. And her unfiltered, like, yeah, she's a little dingier than I thought she was. She's educated, but she doesn't always come across as real, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it does. And that's not to say she can't get better. I just think that for her to, well, also it's really a number of things. It's number one, the appeal to Renee Young is that she's this attractive woman with a personality and wrestling knowledge. So all of that put together seems to indicate that she's best used as a backstage interviewer personality and also doing the Unfiltered show.
Right.
Not behind the commentary desk where you're only going to see her like 3 or 4 times a show. Her voice isn't really the appeal, especially without the face, you know.
No, because she has a beautiful face.
She does.
And
there's
need
a
to
saying,
show that.
There's a saying called this person's got a face made for radio. She does not. Okay.
Right.
So you know, put her out in front. You know, put her in the ring to interview the wrestlers after the matches. You know, that's what she was best at.
And that's something that WWE right now just seems to have this string of look-alike, sound-alike, talk-alike backstage interviewers. Just generic, pretty girls with heavy makeup, high heels, and a dress. Like, I've heard names.
And women.
Yeah.
Even the men.
And somebody was like, oh, yeah, Charlie Caruso, her makeup is pretty. I'm like, who the hell's Charlie Caruso? Oh, you know, she and Kathy Kelly. Who the hell's Kathy Kelly? Who are these people? Like, they're to me, they're just, it's like a revolving door. Like, just pretty interviewer number 7. Pretty interviewer number 5. Yeah, you do an interview with pretty interviewer number 3. Like, they're just a knock against the girls. I'm sure they're all very talented. I don't mean it against them. But WWE's presentation just does not give you much to go on. Cool, she's there. Let Renee have it. Renee has a natural spark with the guys when she interviews them. And a lot of the others, like, I hate to say it, but there's a couple of them when they do interviews. To me, it's glaringly obvious that they have no they're talking about, and that they're just hoping that they get enough camera time that E calls them, or, you know, ESPN calls them, and they cheerleading championship.
Well, didn't that happen with Charlie Caruso? Is that the one? I gotta see if it was her. But basically, someone just took an offer from ESPN, and now they are doing nighttime Sports Center and being the interviewer on Raw and SmackDown.
Huh.
Let me see if it was her.
I would search it, but I don't even know how to spell her name.
Yeah, it was Charlie Caruso.
All right.
Yeah, and then I think Kathy Kelly's dating Finn Balor right now, who, by the way, is a poor man's Jordan Devlin. But that's another rant for another time.
So basically, JoJo is hooked up with Wyatt. Renee is married to Ambrose, and Kathy Kelly is dating Finn Balor.
Yeah, and when
and yet, okay.
I miss when the wrestlers would bang the ring rats and then leave like the employed women like single for the fans.
Yeah, as a former ring rat, I'm like, hello. Okay, can you leave Kelly alone for a night, Finn? I just want to wash clothes on your stomach. That's all I want to do. And it don't even have to be a lot. One shirt. Just let me wash one shirt.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about JoJo and Bray Wyatt was like someone asked Bray Wyatt questioning his relationship with JoJo, and Wyatt basically bragged about cheating on his wife. He was like, and you want to know why I have JoJo? It's because I'm a boss or something like that.
No, it's because
what'd he say?
Already slept with like 3 or 4 other dudes on the roster. She banged Randy Orton. She tried
Incredible.
Cena. Which I'm from Orton to Wyatt. Like, I know that Bray Wyatt is just a character. Looks like he smells like mothballs and onions.
He looks like he smells like beer and cheese.
Yes, he looks cologne smell alike.
Yeah. So basically, someone like came after him on Instagram, and Bray Wyatt replied to him, and said, he spelled wipe wrong. I wipe my ass with wannabe keyboard marks like you every day. And for everyone else that's curious, how would I get JoJo? Because I am the goddamn man. That's how. Case closed.
I would understand if he had pulled like Trish Stratus or
Right.
Alexa, but JoJo?
I know. And remember, it was over a year ago that Bray's wife filed for divorce, alleging he was having an affair with JoJo.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like
Horrible
JoJo
look.
knew that was a married man with children. But I think I don't want to out her, and I think it's Samantha. But Bray Wyatt's wife was a hottie.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to admit that I like girls, and I'm sorry, but I would much rather snuggle up next to Mrs. Linda than JoJo. Because speaking of what people smell like, she looks like she smells like patchouli and tons and tons of hair product.
Yeah. Sometimes sometimes you want that smell, but certainly not all the time.
Well, yeah, like I mean, it's a salon. You would want to smell hair products. Her hair has that like, okay, being from Alabama, it's redneck girl crunchy hair
Yeah.
because country girls just love to like put tons and tons and tons of mousse in their hair. You're scrunching it, and it's to give the impression of waves or curls when there are none. And I know her hair is curly, scrunches her hair. That's an automatic no for me. That's what I think of every time I see JoJo. Is I just picture her with like 3 loading her hair down with it. I'm like, your hair is crunchy. You scrunch your hair.
I bet it breaks off if you tap it with a hammer.
It looks crispy.
Yeah. Anyways, on to this card. So Rhea Ripley defended the NXT UK Women's Championship in a dark match with Dakota Kai. I didn't see it, and
I did not either, and I was really excited about it. I was really pissed that it wasn't on the main card.
Yeah, it could have been.
I wanted to see it. It should have been.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure they'll meet again on TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Trish Stratus and Lita, and Mickie James and Alicia Fox. So Alexa Bliss hurt again. And I don't mean that in a condescending tone.
No, she's worked a lot. I get it.
Yeah, I really don't. But then you're replacing with Alicia Fox. First off, I got to say this again. Why are Mickie James and Alicia Fox aligned with Alexa Bliss? Well, anyways.
I do not understand the alliance. Knows. Because I don't get the alliance either. However, a lot of people were like, what the hell? Alicia Fox. Why Alicia Fox? And in defense of Alicia Fox, she is the longest tenured woman on the roster. She's been there longer than the Bella Dashians. She's been there longer than Natalya. So I feel like her spot on the Evolution card was deserved solely for the fact that she WWE for this long. And she sells like a champ. That girl will ping pong herself all over the ring. Dynamo. She's not the best, but she makes you look good. And she's got those long, long legs. And when she does her scissor kick, it just looks awesome. But for what it's worth,
I seem to remember
she worked her butt off in that match too.
I mean, she definitely didn't mail it in. I'll say that. I just don't think she's ever. I don't think she's any good. I mean, not any good. You're right. She can sell, but that's pretty much it. I mean,
she's great at selling.
but her offense is just really sloppy when
Yeah.
it comes to um, those moves where you need the cooperation of your opponent. Just looks sloppy. She's just not a very good athlete. That's really what it boils down to. But you're right. You know, she is the
Diva.
longest tenured in the company as a woman, and the spot on the show was definitely not undeserved. I don't think anybody would question that. But I've just never thought her to be very good at all, and I think there's no better evidence of that than if you go back and watch her work with the Tough Enough finalists in the finale of that show. She worked Mandy Rose and Sarah Lee, and they were among the worst women's matches I've ever seen. Now that's not just because the other two were green. It was just because whereas the men got to work with Cesaro, the women got Alicia Fox. That's really the best you can do. Like,
you need somebody. Well, yeah, being green, you need someone who can. Alicia Fox needs someone who can carry her. So,
right. And you know, Cesaro got a fine match out of ZZ. You know, so why couldn't the women have gotten, say, who would have been the company at that point? Like
Natalya.
There you go. That would have been more ideal.
I think like everyone, she's stale, she's boring, but she's rock solid. You don't see her botching all the time. You don't see herself or missing huge spots. Like I think Natalya is. You know, I'm a Natalya fan. I always wave the Natalya flag.
Yeah, but would you make her your number one draft pick, like our buddy Steven Jackson from across the pond did in that draft round table? That was
for women. Yeah.
Well, oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a pretty polarizing character, Natalya. We will get to her.
Yeah, we will. But yeah, like the opening match, I thought I was happy to see the massive pops that Trish and Lita got.
It was fun.
I really enjoyed how like for WrestleMania, a lot of wrestlers will go all out with their ring gear. And, I know it was close to Halloween, so a lot of like the Riot Squad kind of rocked Halloween costumes, but I really liked seeing how the girls really kicked the costuming, and everyone had new ring gear for the night and really went all out to look their absolute best and feel their absolute best. And I enjoyed the first match for what it was worth.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't have high hopes for Alicia Fox to be a superstar in it, but right. I thought she more than pulled her weight.
Okay. Do you know what Alexa, Mickey, and Alicia's motif was with those costumes?
I know that
I do.
I think right. Mickey was the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
And I guess then Botch.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was it. But
yeah, I don't know what Alicia was. I was just like Captain Botch, I guess.
Oh, I see.
I was like, that joke hit like a lead friggin' balloon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't.
What's Alicia supposed to be?
She was the Mad Hatter. Is what she was.
Oh. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, she was.
Sure, she was. That was a fun match though. Trish and Lita can still do stuff, and that's evidenced by the fact that they're gonna be sticking around through WrestleMania at least.
Which I'm okay with that because they're the types stand that coming back is to elevate new talent.
Yeah, you want to get a heel over, put him with Trish or Lita, and I think
absolutely
that's really going to be next for Alexa when she gets healthy.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll finally get that singles match. Lita, by the way, she's a lot taller than I remember.
Well, Trish isn't that tall. Trish 3, I think. Like if you remember in her valet days of like TNA, they always had her wear high platform boots. wear those knee-high boots that literally had like 3-4 inch like platforms on them.
Who's this?
She, Trish.
Trish was never in
Yeah.
TNA.
Testin Albert, her TNA
Oh, yeah.
when she was the valet for TNA. Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have been clear.
Absolutely. That could be confusing. The only time you would ever get, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have been clearer about that.
No. But you're right. I remember that.
Days they had her because she would always wear like the tight tank top, the long jacket, and the mini skirt, itty bitty mini skirt, and then knee high boots.
Oh, I love that. Outfit.
Always like thick soled platform high boots because I think she's only like 5'3", whereas Lita I think is like my height, which is like 5'7". So
I could see that.
Lita's got long legs, and I think Trish is only like 5'4". So next to her, Lita probably does look really tall.
Yeah, she came off that way on the show. Not that I mind or anything like that. Nothing wrong with long legs and such. And it was good. It was great to see Lita back in the ring. She looked good in many ways.
I've always loved Lita.
Yeah,
always. Lita is my home girl. I was a Jinko wearing alternative kid in the late 90s too, so Lita was my hero. I was all about like, that's right, baggy pants with the thong showing. Yeah, nice. I dressed just like Lita then, so yeah, I was all for
her. Next we got the Battle Royal, which was not a bad Battle Royal. No. I should, even though you had some competitors in it that were not, like, for all intents and purposes, non-wrestlers at this stage. It wasn't bad. They all did their part. And, what's funny was, I follow Tori Wilson on Instagram for many reasons. But, she's, posting stuff to her story, afterwards. And, she had, a very, very short spot with Sonya Deville on the apron where she got knocked off or something like that.
She took a bad bump. Like, it looked like her foot in there. Did she talk about that?
No, but what happened was someone because on Instagram you can, I guess, take stuff from other people's stories and put it on your story. So someone said who else wants to see a match between these two? Between Sonya or not a match, a feud. I think was what it was between Sonya Deville and Tori Wilson. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? I mean, I love Tori, but I have no interest in seeing her in a wrestling ring, really. And I barely have any
because really she was really a wrestler. Like, she was in the women's division when it was John Laurinaitis' Bikini Models Incorporated. Like, she is absolutely beautiful, but I don't want to see her in a full-time capacity. No.
The funny thing about her is, and I don't think that's really on the table for her anyway, because she's doing so well with her this personal fitness business she's got going on. She's in pretty much peak physical condition for her age. It's just funny. It's a commentary, I think, on how you can be in great shape but just not be a great athlete. Some people just don't have that gift, and I think she's one of those people.
Well, she is my go-to example of how certain people, when they leave WWE, they kind of R&R and relax a little bit. They end up looking better than they ever did in WWE. And even with the time that's elapsed, I think Day looks better than she did in WWE. I think she looked, I don't know if that's just the grueling travel schedule, if it was drama in the back that was just stressing her out, if she had other things going on. Regardless, Tori's always been beautiful, but I think she looks better today even than she did back then.
You're not alone on that. I am on the fence with that myself. Conrad, a fellow Alabaman, is that?
I know he thinks she's very Roll Tide.
Yeah, he does. He does. Especially today. But I got into a fight with my former co-host though, about how much work Tori Wilson's had done though, and I
I
said
don't
very, I said very minimal, and he was like,
boob
"Oh,
jobs.
dude,
That's it.
yeah, that's it." And she got that reduced,
Yeah,
as far
I
as I can
mean,
tell.
and honestly nowadays boob jobs are a dime a dozen. There's a woman that works at the gas station down the street from me that has a boob job. That's nothing anymore, like I hate to say it, but it's almost par for the course for women who appear on television. Again, as someone who worked in adult entertainment, like it is your overall appearance. It enhances the way clothes fit. Certain tops fit you better. You have more variety in what you can wear and what you can be dressed in. So I get it. I don't knock anyone for getting their boobs done. Like I might joke about it, and I do
Yeah.
make boob job jokes, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't knock it at all. And yeah, I don't think Tori Wilson's had anything other than her boobs done because she doesn't look different.
I
You
know.
want to talk about work done? Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly tried to talk about what evolution means to you, and her face didn't move. I'm like, good God, you
Yeah.
have
She was like a
Botoxed everything out of
she was
your
like a tiki.
face. God. Now, granted, she was never good in the ring,
No.
but yeah, like, hello, I Botoxed all the life on my face. Like, God
Amazing.
Almighty.
Um, what
All
was
the
I gonna
girls in the
say?
club say, ooh, my face won't do that
Oh, I
too.
always
You
hated
know,
that song.
oh God, even now, like a lot of the women just garbage entrance music. But
Both
yeah,
before and after it got remixed when they tried to make her a serious wrestler.
tried to make her serious. Hello.
No,
Sorry.
remember like they put her on SmackDown after the Extreme Expose era, and they made her Divas champion, and they tried
Oh
to put
yeah.
her with Edge to get back at Vicky Guerrero. Like
I'm Kelly, and I'm an exhibitionist. Yeah.
it was weird. Yeah, that was cool though.
I could never
I'm
take
not.
someone seriously with the name Kelly.
Well, did you know that Kelly didn't know how to? Do you know the story about how the exhibitionist character came to be?
She didn't know what the word meant.
That could very well be, but here's what I
I'm
know.
just joking.
That could be though. I wouldn't put it past her. Sorry, Kelly, but come on. What happened was Paul Heyman wanted to have an exhibitionist character on the show, and he recruited Kelly personally because he thought she'd be perfect for the part. Much in the same way that he brought Beulah McGillicuddy into ECW.
Sure.
Um, Now the problem was she didn't know how to dance.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So
and when they put her next to Layla, who is a bona fide professional dancer,
mhm,
looked very wooden.
I know. So who but Vince McMahon would
Oh
go on to
God.
teach her how to shake her ass?
Did she watch the stand back video? Or
No,
did
he
Vince
actually like performed dancing in front of her to show her how to do it. This
that is the
according to
most
Bruce Pritchard.
I have not heard that story. That is the most excellent, fantastic, amazing mental image ever.
Yeah, that
Oh, Vince McMahon teaching Kelly how to dance.
yeah, I'm completely serious with that.
Vince McMahon talked. You just shake your ass like this, and
That's
then you turn around and you grab your boobs.
that's that's exactly how Bruce told the story. Just turn around and stand back.
Just shake your hips. Those are the things next to your butt. And I've always joked that never has someone had a more accurate real name than Kelly. Her name is Barbie Blank. Barbie,
Yeah,
and she is consistently kind of just blank. Like it's the most perfect name ever.
Yeah, Bruce. This was on the. This, by the way, was on the podcast on ECW 2006. But Bruce is pretty much just like, you gotta move, you gotta groove, feel the music. Come on, baby, feel the music like this. Yeah, shake it just like that.
Well, see, they put her with Layla, who really Layla could have, and I'm sure Layla did help her. And who Adams, who became Tessmacher down the line.
Brooke Adams, yeah.
Yeah. Brooke, who, Lord, was just as wooden. The extreme expose, those segments always made me laugh because you could see Layla just breaking it down. And then you'd see Kelly looking like just kind of, am I shaking it right?
Right.
Am I shaking it good?
Right. But, at like 14 years old, you're not going to know the difference.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. She has the kind of looks that even though Layla was the better dancer, all eyes were on Kelly because she was the statuesque blonde with gigantic cans. So, yeah, like I hate that she has done because she was naturally so beautiful. And she has just absolutely plastic surgeryed all of that away. And that just hurts my heart. Because she's got to be maybe 30, 32. Like, she's not old. Why are you Botoxing? Stop that. Quit it. Quit it. Drink some water.
Yeah. Seriously. Or maybe go in water. That sounds good too.
Sure, yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, Battle Royal. Battle Royal was good.
I was a little irritated that they used the Iconics as cannon fodder. I think I'm not the biggest fan. I respect how over they are, and I'm glad that they got some time to be on the mic and get some shine. But honestly, I think that should have been the Bella's spot in the whole show, was to talk smack and get dumped. I know that's not going to happen, but that's where the Bellas should have.
I agree.
But yeah, I hated to see the Iconics just dumped first thing. Like, come on, you're going to keep. And I know everyone thought the dance was so cute. For me, it was just like fulfilling what I had called a year ago. Like, I think we've talked about it, how I think WWE had the buyer's remorse with her and that Money in the Bank briefcase, and she did not improve at the rate that they thought she might. And I don't think they knew. And they were like, we don't really want to put a title on her. What are we going to do? She's still got that damn briefcase. And I knew, like, my gut told me they were going to go ahead and give her a title run. But once that was over, she would probably never even get to carry the belt while someone put their shoes on. Like, and sure enough, she lost it and has not come close to it. And now she's the what's up girl for art, doing the backpack kid dance. That was cool for about 5 minutes 3 years ago. Congratulations, you're now Santino.
Yeah, pretty close. Let me see here.
A much hotter Santino, and I would much rather watch Santino.
Yeah.
But if she starts walking and playing the trombone, that's it.
Yeah.
And give her like some kind of sock puppet.
Yeah,
seriously. It can be leopard print. This is my Long Island bad bitch. There you go. Market it, Vince.
And it's great because you can say bitch on TV.
Her new finisher, the Long Island bad bitch, and all she does is put a leopard print sock on that has ridiculously long eyelashes and like hot pink lips. Go up and like make it say something insulting to the girl, and then the girl falls out.
Well, it could be like Chelsea Green's hot mess character, except in puppet form. I'm a Long Island bad bitch.
Yeah,
I love it. I don't like the Iconics anymore. I've decided They kind of suck. And
I've never been super impressed by them. I don't get the love for them. I don't think either one of them are particularly great in the ring, and
no,
on the mic they're just obnoxious. And I know that's what they're supposed to be, but
they post videos on
it's not
Instagram
even
all
like
the
heel
time.
heat. It's just, oh my god, stop talking heat.
Yeah, they post videos of them on Instagram all the time, working out and stuff. But I don't think they're good athletes. And I used to really like Peyton Royce, but after the way the whole Dave Meltzer thing went down, it really left a sour taste in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And
Same.
she just came off as stupid, for lack of a better word, not really like figuring out like what was said first before she tweeted about it.
Well, to be like the way she reacted, it seemed it came across to me like she saw an opportunity to drum up sympathy for
Yeah, it was
herself and play this modern day PC
right.
mob mentality thing. She saw
It
an
was outrage
opportunity.
culture, is what it was.
Yeah, she saw an opportunity as mob mentality for herself, and she took it. And to me, that was just, she was already kind of iffy to me because of the way she talked to other superstars or like other people. Like when Leo Rush had his little hiccup, she tweeted to him like, you need to act right, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I'm like, y'all are both in NXT, sweetheart,
Yeah,
you're in developmental too.
yeah, but guess what? Leo Rush's stock right now is higher than hers is probably ever going to be.
This is true, but I caught so much hell for that when I was. Peyton Royce doesn't, she's not a locker room veteran. Who is she to tell anybody what they need to be doing? She needs to be bettering herself. She doesn't
Yeah,
about what the locker room is doing. And people are like, well, she's been there longer. She's awesome. She's this, she's that. And I'm like, no, she's got big fake boobs. And you like, be honest.
she does now. Back when she didn't, though, they were putting her in the ring with Asuka, and I thought for a second there that she had something. Now I don't really see it anymore.
Yeah, now you realize that it was Asuka making her look good.
Exactly, and I think she's still better than Billie Kay, but I dislike her more because of the way that whole thing broke down on Twitter.
I don't think you're alone in that. I think once that little crap storm blew over, I think a lot of people stepped back and were like, "What? Wait a minute," and it's like everyone's getting all up in arms, and I don't think any of these people have actually listened to the audio.
Yeah, and when I did, I was like, "Huh." Well, I know what Dave was saying.
Yeah,
it was it was just jabbering. Really, it wasn't a premeditated attack. It was
it wasn't.
It was him just going off the top of his head. He said something that maybe he shouldn't have said, but not something that was like calling her fat or anything. That was just incorrect.
No, and
factually
honestly,
incorrect.
I took it to mean because it sounded like he was struck the word, and when he said lighter, he even hesitated then because I don't think that's what he meant. Honestly, I think he was making reference to her pre and after boob job, and I don't think he wanted to say, well, before she went and got her some store-bought knockers.
Yes, but it would have actually benefited him more if he had just said that, which is weird.
Right.
But I just have no time for the outrage culture people.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you, not to get too political, but if you ask me, I think those are the people that are making this country worse.
Absolutely,
at the core of it all.
How I've said it. Well, now it must be so exhausting being outraged and offended by everything all the time.
I know, right? Like,
must be exhausting.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, Battle Royal happened.
Oh yeah,
I'm trying to think. I thought Ivory had a really good showing, and that wasn't just because she lasted to the final 5.
Yeah, it surprised me that they kept her until the final 5, but she did. She looked good. Alundra Blaze, I don't know if she's been injured and just can't go, She looked like she was walking in molasses. She was just slow and plodding, and that's not how she moves.
Yeah, yeah, but okay. So Alundra Blaze is she's kind of an elder statesman. I'm surprised that she could still work at all, really. But how old do you think Ivory is?
Ooh, Ivory was on Glow. So Ivory's like 52, 53.
She's 56.
Yeah.
Ivory is actually older than Alundra Blaze.
But I figured they were about the same age.
But the two appeared in different eras of WWE, which
leads people to think, that.
So, but that would make her the oldest competitor in the match, and she looked good. What can I say?
She did. She really did. I was happy to see her go out there and work. I was. Nobody out there, like, my biggest problem was just how many people in there were just being wasted in a battle royal. Ember Moon, Asuka, I guess that's really it. Ember Moon and Asuka in particular. Oh, Naomi, for the love of God, like, what happened to the push for Naomi?
I've always been kind of more indifferent to her. I haven't seen her work in a while though, and I was watching her there.
I hated her for the longest time. I couldn't. Really grown on me, but I just.
Well, I think
I said this when they gave her the Feel the Glow gimmick. I said their sideshow. Her entrance is going to get over. She's not, and that's what happens. People kind of get into the entrance with the lights and the dancing, but they're in the ring.
I think I'm more indifferent to Naomi now. She's definitely graduated in some respects in my eyes. I don't think she should be sniffing the title really anytime soon. Not just because of her, but because of who's on top right now. But I would also say that I think a lot of that was because I associated her with Cameron for the longest time, and Cameron was just she was employed like 4 years too long, and she was employed for like 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
She's the worst contestant to ever be on Tough Enough.
Easily.
In every way. She said her favorite match of all time was Melina versus Alicia Fox on Raw.
God, Stone Cold's face.
Yeah. Incredible.
Like, just unreal. Well, like I said, I was the same way. Like, I thought Naomi, I didn't like her at all. I thought she was obnoxious. I didn't like her character. But the more I've watched her, and what really sold me on her, Money in the Bank match this year. Watch that match again and just watch her. She is the unsung hero of that match. That happened to Naomi. She was graceful. She was fluid. She was quick on her feet. Like, I don't think she was Benjamin type stuff. Like, just, she's so fast and she's so strong. And you can just tell that she's true. And I hate to sound like this person, but I hate the fact that, she's a black girl, so let's give her a move with her booty. Move where she jumps up and hits people with her booty. Like, can we not do that?
Well, according to Brodus Clay, she has the best ass that he's ever seen. However, I prefer Toni Storm's ass.
I could list a few that come before hers.
Okay. Maybe we could do a whole podcast on that problem.
We could. Absolutely. Like, I happen to think Maria Kanellis takes the cake in the booty department. Thank you. Exactly.
Fan me down.
I'm right.
Yeah.
Nobody beats Maria.
Probably not.
She should just go ahead and probably get a crown that fits around her waist that can just sit on her butt as she walks around. Queen butt.
She should be on TV more. Anyways.
Yes, she should. She was one of those in the Battle Royal who was never a great wrestler, but she's a great, like, she really improved on the mic and really improved character-wise with her time with Mike, like in Ring of Honor and in TNA. And Bella doesn't like her. And I can't help but think politics get played, and Maria does not get the shine she deserves. She was one of the ones that spoke out about the Bellas playing politics and spoke out about how crappy Nikki is in particular backstage. And go figure, she's not getting, and she should be.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about the ending? How do you feel about Nia Jax winning the Battle Royal?
I don't know. It doesn't mean anything, right? Well, actually, it does. There were stakes for this
shot.
Battle Royal. Title shot. Yeah.
I really wanted to see Ember win it all. I felt like Ember Moon deserved it. I think
she's got the momentum.
Yeah, I think she was the odds on, like everybody was kind of pulling for her. I wasn't mad that Nia won. I kind of reacted like you did, just kind of like, okay, we're doing this again. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna try this one again, huh?
Then Nia did an interview after the match. They got to stop giving her the mic after matches. Her worst promos are after her matches. She takes the mic and,
she cries and she breathes heavy.
Right. Like, whoever the interviewer was asked her who she'd rather face, Ronda or Nikki Bella. And rather than say, well, Nikki Bella, like the logical answer would be, well, Nikki Bella's the easy out, but I'd like to get some retribution for Ronda and finish our unfinished business from the last time we fought, But they don't, because WWE thinks the fans like don't remember shit. They didn't reference that at all. And Nia gave the interview like she would be facing Ronda for the first time.
Of course.
So that was just stupid. And then, she gave like a very aggressive response to that answer. And then she hugged Kathy Kelly or whoever it was.
See, exactly. Kathy Kelly or whoever it was. You don't even remember. It's just pretty interviewer number 3.
It could have been Kathy. It could have been Charlie. It could have been Dasha. It could have been JoJo. I don't know. And I know that it wasn't Tom
Interviewer
Phillips.
McFemale pants.
Yeah, exactly. On an old podcast I used to listen to, they used to refer to Todd Grisham and Josh Matthews as, quote unquote, Boy 1 and Boy 2.
Reasonable.
Yeah. So this is kind of like
the Josh Matthews segment on with, oh God, the referee
Tim White.
Yes. Tim White. Mr. White, that's not wise. That was great. Those were great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them.
Yeah, I did too. Even as young as I was at the time. So yeah, Nia beats Ember in the last thing in that match, and that was a fine battle royal by all accounts, especially with all the non wrestlers that were in it. Anyways, Toni Storm and Io Shirai, Mae Young Classic tournament final, as we kind of alluded to from earlier. Interesting thing about this show is not only did you have the Mae Young Classic 2 championship match, but you also had a rematch from last year's Mae Young Classic final later on.
Oh. Yeah.
With Shayna and Kairi Sane.
You sure did. You sure did. I didn't even.
Very interesting.
They touched. But I really, really enjoyed Toni Storm and Io Shirai. Like, I was very invested in, and I thought both ladies did a fantastic job. That was the match where there was just that brutal German suplex ring apron.
Yep.
Oh God, the hardest part of the ring. Good Lord have mercy. That was brutal.
Yeah, and Shirai felt it after that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But they had a very good match. It would be later overshadowed, but up to this point in the show, it was the best match for sure. Mm-hmm. And both these women earned their keeps for sure. Shirai, you could say one of the 5 best female wrestlers in the world. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Toni Storm's probably knocking on the door of that, as young as she is at 23. So it's like, okay, Toni, you proved enough. You can be the future face of the women's division. It's great. It's great. We're happy to have you. And I think that's what this match said more than anything.
Yeah. It's like, we see you, and we're going to keep cultivating you and helping this level.
Okay, Toni, you know, you're not only are you beautiful, but no one's ever really been as good as you are at your age ever, in women's wrestling. So
just so you know, Triple H and Stephanie, like, just so you know, we will own you.
yeah. But it was fantastic. Good show of sportsmanship at the end. I don't recall her getting an interview after the match, though, did she?
Mm-mm. No, she was so emotional. Like, I don't think. I think, did they try to even? But I remember she was just kind of a mess. Like, her makeup was running, and her little black grease paint was all smudged, and the Mae Young trophy that they big, her hair was tangled up in it. They gave her the big thing of roses, and she was just like,
okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, you know, she was a bit overwhelmed.
I think the winner of a tournament like that is the superstar that needs the interview, a la Steve Austin, right? But I think that her emotion was enough of an interview.
Yeah,
for me,
because it was genuine. You could tell she was genuinely so overjoyed, because it was redemption. She didn't make it that far in the last tournament, and
she made the semis.
Wanted to prove herself. Yeah,
she didn't make it as far.
It was important to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, she's got a bright future. What more can I say? So does Shirai. We'll see how that goes. You know, a lot of things you can do with her on NXT, where she should be pretty much ASAP. Like the way the Kairi Sane Shayna Baszler storyline had been going was, Sane won the Mae Young Classic. Then she took the belt off Shayna. Now Shayna's got a win back, although, you know, that comes later in the show. And then now it seems like the tide's kind of turning. So if they do another match and Shayna wins again, then you kind of see Shirai like stepping in for her friend and being like, "I'll handle this."
Right.
And then maybe have her beat Shayna or something like that, and have
Shayna say something like, if they start kind of teaming up together and escorting each other to the ring, even have Shayna maybe insult her like, "Oh, so you've got to bring backup. You can't handle this." Da 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 da.
Right. Well, they're gonna have to even the odds.
What's she gonna do? Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That with the and just a side note, can we horsewoman thing? I'm so sick of the 4 horsewoman this, the 4 horsewoman. How about we create new stables? How about we create?
Well,
how many iterations of horsemen and horsewomen do we need?
That's true. Well,
at this point, we've got like 450 total horsemen.
You have the so you have the 4 horsemen of wrestling originally. You know, with Flair, Blanchard, Anderson, JJ Dillon. And then you had the women's WWE 4 horsewomen, which was Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. Then you had the 4 horsewomen of MMA, which was Ronda Rousey, Shayna, Marina Shafir, and Jessamine Duke. That was just what they called themselves. It's not like they were like, we're the 4 horsewomen. Like, they just had the nickname in MMA, and I guess it carried over. Whether or not it should is another debate, I think. But it wasn't like, you know, we're going to do another 4 horsewomen. That's just who they are to the casual fans that know them. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Well, let's have a horsewomen versus horsewomen elimination match at Survivor Series then.
That's what they were angling for about a year ago, if you remember. There was a lot of speculation that there was going to be some sort of angle done at last year's Mae Young Classic with the WWE 4 horsewomen and the MMA 4 horsewomen. And that was going to be how they introduced Ronda into WWE. But instead
That
they
would have been
had
cool.
but instead they decided to have her train some more and just get ready for WrestleMania, and they kind of tabled that. Now it doesn't seem like we're gonna be getting that for a while, and that's okay. I didn't need to
Yeah,
see that.
it can wait.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I think Kyrie's gonna need backup, and honestly, all she needs is Shirai against Shayna Baszler and her two goons, right?
Yeah.
That's two of the best women's wrestlers in the world against Shayna and two peons. Yeah, that should be enough.
Peons.
Can't wait for it though. That's what they are right now.
They're just
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Then we got Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya against the Riot Squad. Longer match.
This was
it was more of a showcase than anything.
Yeah. And this was the second time of the night. Like, I first noticed myself thinking during the Trish Lita match, but once again during this match, I caught myself like after a big move thinking, "Oh, this will probably be it. Oh, this will probably be it." Oh,
yeah,
no.
I saw your tweet about that.
Yeah, like I'm so trained for women's matches to just end on a dime like that, for a pinfall to just boom, done, over. And a couple times throughout the night, I had to catch myself like, wait, no, this is their show, so they can keep going. And there were a couple of moments I kept thinking, oh, that's probably it. No, all right. I even sounded like Vince McMahon the way he used to count 1, 2, just like all into it. But yeah.
1, 2. Did you get him? No.
Oh, I think you got him. No. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, Shawn Michaels out. Good stuff.
But yeah, I thought that was a good match. Eventually there comes a time when someone who we have been putting over as tippy top dog has a little bit of a fall from grace. And I think it's time we talk about Sasha Banks and her tendency to botch. I hate to say it. I tweeted it out, but all credit to the Riot Squad for covering that fun spot. I thought they played that off beautifully. They just scooped her up and rolled into the next spot like it happened the way it was supposed to. Later on in the match, when Liv Morgan, on the last podcast I did, I misspoke and said Mandy Rose because I confused Mandy Rose and Liv Morgan for some reason.
Understandable.
They favor a lot to me, but two different women, and I don't want to be disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Liv, and you could tell Sasha was supposed to just sell the bejesus out of it, but Sasha like flopped back before Mandy half an inch off the ground. So Mandy literally just whiffed the whole kick, and it just looked incredibly sloppy. And Michael Cole kind of played it off like, oh, for the kick. Didn't follow through, didn't get anything,
Didn't get all of it.
Yeah, exactly. But it was very clear Sasha boo-booed again.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept saying, come on, Sasha, just shake it off. Shake it off. Because she ended up scoring the match-winning pin. Splash was ugly.
I think it's time we start to question just how good is Sasha Banks anyway.
Yeah.
The only great matches she's ever had has been against Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky.
Yep.
And say what you want about Bayley as a character, she might be a complete zero in that facet of things, but she is a solid worker, maybe even more so than that. And she had great chemistry with Sasha. Charlotte also had great chemistry with Sasha, and is just this next level athlete. And then Becky's the best worker in the division. So, outside of that, I challenge you, not you, Jenna, but
you generally.
the listener, I challenge you to find me a Sasha Banks match that is even good, not even great, but above average, where she's not working with one of those three women. Because it's not really coming to mind.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
I mean, maybe Natalya, but again,
I think Natalya, but again, that's working with an absolute seasoned veteran who knows how to take chicken poop and make it into chicken salad.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah, I'm not.
Again, a solid match. It did not bring the show down.
Not at all.
Like you'd be accustomed to seeing with women's matches over the years.
And the
It's not a
crowd was
knock.
hot for this show, like
Yeah.
beginning to end. The crowd was loud, and they participated, and they booed, and they showed love to everyone, and that really helped, I think, with the women's performance. Just hearing how hot the crowd was.
Yeah, the crowd was pretty great. And in a very positive way too.
Yeah.
Not in a you fucked up. You.
Yes, you could tell the crowd wanted this to go well, and they wanted to back these women up. And I think they did a good job, like by choosing New York as the location, because New Square Garden. I know they weren't at the Garden, but New York is always has been a tried and true WWE stalwart.
Yes.
Chicago or New York would be where you want to go, because Chicago is such a solid WWE crowd too. You don't want to go to. You don't want to have it anywhere in the South, because I hate to say it, but I think people down here be women wrestling. I just want to look at their boobs, and I hate to say it like that. And I know not all Southern men are like that, but all of my Southern people know exactly the kind of about when I say that.
Yeah. Well, guys, you can't have it both ways. You can appreciate the women's wrestling and be into the other stuff too. Look at John Corrigan. I don't think there's a better example of that than that guy.
What do you mean? Go ahead.
Oh, we had a podcast once, and we were gushing on women's wrestling for a while outside of WWE, and then at the end, we just kind of broke into this deviant chat about fave fives and things like that, and comparing, contrasting. No, not even that, but just like comparing assets and stuff. I'm not proud of it. I'm indifferent to it, but but John is very very much like the king in that regard. Puppies, JR.
Puppies. See, I have a tendency off in that, and I hold my tongue a lot, because, like when I was talking about Mandy Rose and Liv Morgan, like I kind of have a thing for both of them. I think that's really why I have a hard time telling them apart, because I'm just like, oh, either one of you, yeah.
Yeah.
Liv would be, yeah. I like Liv a lot. I like Ruby too.
I do as well.
But yeah, like I have a tendency to kind of be pervy with how I look at both the men and women.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. We're loving people, Although John might take it a step further. I don't know. And then I have to be like JR, where I'm like, listen, John, I'll have to apologize for the king. Okay.
Gorilla Monsoon, like, will you be serious?
Dog chicken shit. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, 6-woman tag was good. Then we've got the NXT Women's Championship. Not often you find two an NXT Women's Championship on the same card as the SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships, but that's what made this card unique and special in some ways. Shayna versus Kairi Sane. And this was the best match they've had yet, in my opinion.
Yeah.
12 minutes.
It was excellent.
12 minutes, and the story here has been that for as tough of a veneer as Shayna puts up, Kairi, he's always found a way inside of that, and she took the Mae Young Classic Championship away from Shayna. She took her NXT belt, and now she's defending it with a chance to pretty much tell her with a way to pretty much way to have her go away altogether. But ultimately, it took some outside interference from the two of the four horsewomen in Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke. Also, a fun fact: I don't know where Marina came from, but Jessamine Duke was on the same season of The Ultimate Fighter as Shayna was. They were both drafted by Ronda, and I think that was how they all met. But
Cool.
so they jumped the rail, and pretty much too much for Kyrie to overcome. I thought she fought valiantly. I thought she sold it all very well.
Mm-hmm.
And then even to the very end, she ends up going out in Shayna's rear naked choke. And
the tap, which I thought was beautiful.
Yep, great. Like, I would say for me, on my scale, a solid 4-star match.
My biggest takeaway was, besides my hot take on Shayna versus Ronda, what a good Kyrie is. How throughout the match she consistently sold that arm. She kept it tucked at her side the entire match. Point that I started asking myself, wait, is she really hurt? Did she really hurt her arm?
Yeah.
Because that's when you know someone is, when you actually start questioning, like, wait, are they still just in the match, or is she yeah. The spot where Shayna just dangled her by her arm.
Yeah.
That was an unbelievable spot. Like, that. Incredible.
Yeah, it was a good match. Kyrie is so tough. Pound for pound, one of the toughest wrestlers in the world, if you ask me. Just the abuse that she can take from Shayna, and then also I'll never forget in the Mae Young Classic last year, where she's facing Bianca Belair, and Bianca's whipping her ponytail at her, and she's like taking like lashes, like almost like she's this pirate character. It's almost like the pirate being like tied to the pole, and then then having to take the lashes from the crew. It was almost like that. And she was wearing the welts on her body, and you know that must have freaking hurt.
You know it had to hurt.
And she didn't skip a beat. So I am a big fan of hers. And also, one thing we didn't even talk about was her entrance. She brings out the treasure chest.
Yeah,
with the NXT
I tweeted that. I was like, I
them.
love that she carried the title in a treasure chest.
Pound for pound, one of my favorite moments of the show.
Absolutely.
And the way she kind of revealed it too was just perfect. Like, she's got such a presence for her character. And,
yes.
And that's the stuff I like in wrestling. I like when you can combine this the acting awareness of your character with being, one, tough, and two, just being like so technically sound in the ring.
That was something else I mentioned, was once again, this is the second woman in NXT who is WWE a unique, creative, merchandisable babyface. The first one was NXT gave them a silver platter, like all of the merch that you could do with Bayley. And once again, you've got it with Kyrie. The little looking glasses, the little steering wheels, pirate's hat. There is absolutely no limit to where you could go with Kyrie's character and merchandising. And that's just, again, a unique babyface being handed to Vince McMahon on a silver platter.
And the thing is, her English is like, I think her English might even, it's not great. It might be better than Asuka's. But the thing is, she never has to speak.
No, she doesn't.
That's the thing. Like,
how I speak. That's what kills me. Like, Vince doesn't like pushing Asuka because he doesn't like how she talks. I'm like, did you talk to her? Did you know she was Japanese? Did you think Asuka was a? Did you think she was from Cleveland?
Asuka, I thought you meant Asuka.
Oh God.
Yeah, the thing is, the way with her selling and her facial expressions, you know, it tells 1,000 words every time. And
absolutely.
And
I agree.
And listen, Nakamura can talk, but actually his English is very good. No, it's not the same.
That's true. Nakamura actually speaks good English.
He pretends not to, but he does.
Right.
And that's why his character is so funny as a heel. Because sometimes he steers into stereotypes and
That's true.
like when he was like, "No speak English,"
oh, come on, dude, don't do that.
he's making the face, and now that's
Oh
another
yeah.
guy with the facial expressions, and he probably doesn't
Yes.
need to speak either, but he can. So it's in his Japanese promos, from people that speak the language, I've been told were some of the best. Also, so yeah, I was very impressed with that match, and then we got the match of the night. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair in one of the greatest women's matches I've ever seen. Maybe the best.
Yeah.
Last woman standing. And I think it'll be the match that temporarily closes the book on this feud to be revisited at another time.
Yeah. It should be. Where do you go from there? Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't a perfect match. I had a couple gripes. And it's just me nitpicking. But this was a half-hour battle. Both women going 100% the entire time, working their characters into the match, and it was as good of a main roster match as I've seen in a long time. And I think a lot of what would you say, Jenna, is the best women's match of all time? Do you think?
Honestly, I said it after this match. Like I said, this was the best women's match. Like not this month, not best women's pay-per-view match, not best women's title match, but best women's match ever was this one. Battles between Charlotte and actually Charlotte and Natalya had that series on NXT that was really good.
Yep.
Sasha and Bailey again
At Brooklyn,
yeah, that one always pops up for me.
A lot of people will also say Charlotte and Sasha Banks and Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that was excellent too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this, but having all those in mind, I think this match topped it.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think it helped having the personal issue feud laced into it. Like there was a method to the madness. It wasn't just we're gonna it's the third match, so we have to do a gimmick. No, this it was time for this match in the feud. And boy, it delivered. My gripes were really minor. It was first, I think, there were a lot of spots that were like that to me were pretty obviously assisted spots, to the point where it almost looked like the person taking the bump was like almost doing too much to get the positioning right, and it didn't look quite as authentic as I would have liked it to at all times. And then it was also two moves from Mike Chioda during the match. It was first him kicking the chair towards Becky so she could reach it and break up Charlotte's figure eight. Remember that spot?
Yeah.
And then it was at the very end of the match where Becky finishes Charlotte with the power bomb, and actually Chioda holds on to Becky's singlet so she doesn't fall off the apron. I didn't as much have a problem with that one, and you couldn't really see it on TV.
I didn't even notice that.
It surfaced in a picture that a fan took and put on Reddit.
Always squared circle coming out.
I know. But come to think of it, that one didn't really affect my viewing experience. The kicking of the chair was the big one, I thought. It was like all she has to do is just inch over a little bit more and grab it. You don't have to like expedite you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, she could have made it a part of her struggle.
Right, exactly. Other than that, I don't really have anything bad to say about this match.
I only had two gripes, actually three, about this match.
Sure.
One was that I thought there was so much intensity that I would have liked the build up to the match to have been a couple weeks where they didn't touch each other. We were talking, and I didn't even think about this honestly until I talked with the tax man over at the Six Sided podcast, and he mentioned that. And I said, you know what? But that again is nitpicking for me. And when Charlotte went to do the figure eight through the ladder, you could tell that she going the first time. So she linked up Becky's legs and kind of knocked them against the ladder and then repositioned the ladder and went for it again.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to do it the first time and it just wasn't happening. And she needed to be able to reposition Becky, and Becky needed to be able to move for her a little bit. Like you said, assisted spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
But the only real sticky thing that kind of bugged me was the spot at the end where Charlotte was buried underneath all of the announcers' chairs, the tables, the folding chairs, et cetera, et cetera. And I said this elsewhere, but you could tell this was supposed to be that focal moment. This was supposed to be the Edge spearing Jeff Hardy, the Shane McMahon falling from the rafters back through the tables, the bloody McMahon staring into the ring. Like, this was that moment. And she botched it because, of course, you're supposed to be at your feet. And she got up to a knee. And he stopped the count. And I'm like, but she wasn't up. She, what? Okay.
I see what you're saying. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, like that. And you know, that was supposed to be the moment. You could tell by the face that Charlotte was making.
Yep.
That was meant to be the moment, the replayable clip, the highlight. And just, she waited too long to pop up. And I get it. She was waiting, milking that moment. I get it. But she didn't give herself enough time through all of those after being sweaty and beating yourself up for 25 minutes. Like, I think she did how well she'd be able to do that at that point in the match.
You know what? That reminds me. That was not the worst botch on the show.
No.
I would say, again, I didn't really think about that, but now that you mention it, one of the worst, maybe even not the worst, but one of the worst that I caught was in the Trish and Lita versus Mickey and Alicia match. Trish is pinning Mickey, and Alicia's supposed to come in and break up the count, and she's late by about a second. Yep, she missed her cue, and the ref just pauses on the 2, and you're like, where's the, you know, they're supposed to count it like a shoot.
Yeah.
Had they done that, that could have wrecked the match entirely.
Yeah.
And she was about a whole second off, and the crowd booed at that. But it was just something that popped back into my head. So you think that her not getting back to her feet kind of tarnished that moment for you?
A little bit, okay. Because like I said, they always count of 10 to get to your feet. And it's a nitpicky thing, and it was still a great moment. Like, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But my pedantic self was like, but she wasn't at her. She was on her knee. Feet, people, feet.
Right.
And topic of botches, Charlotte actually whiffed that first moonsault through the table onto Becky. Almost completely missed it. Her shoulders and arms connected with Becky when she did that off the top turnbuckle when Becky was on the table. And on the topic of people who botch and get protected, Charlotte has a laundry list of some ugly botches, and people seem to just look the other way. And I'll be honest,
I would say that she makes up for it sometimes.
She does. Sometimes.
With just her crazy athleticism. But you're right. She's not the cleanest worker. It usually takes her having to get in with someone like Becky to really bring her up.
Yes. And the thing with Charlotte, her botches, like when Bayley botches, when Sasha botches, I know what they were going for. I can look at that and say, oh, a snapmare, oh, a this, a that. With Charlotte, 3 or 4 times now she's botched, and I've had to watch it over and over going, I don't even know what she's trying to do. There was one botch with Charlotte and Sasha where Charlotte was standing on the buckle and picked Sasha up almost like in a pump handle slam position, and then turned and then dropped her. And Charlotte hit her head, neck, and shoulders on every single rope going down and then just crumpled. And I probably watched that clip 15 times. I'm like, I don't know what Charlotte was trying to do. I do not know. I have no clue. And so I don't know if she just has these ideas in her head that, like, she's like, I'm just going to go for it.
That's what she does, especially on the high flying stuff. You know, it's not like Neville where she's got like everything down to the angle.
Right.
Every time she goes like that, and it's very scientific. No, she's like, I'm going to do a flip now, and I'm going to go for it, and you can catch me or you cannot.
Right. And I mean, this is something else I asked during the pay-per-view, but Charlotte's like 5'10", so she's tall. So she can do all the front walkovers, like the front walkovers she does in her entrance. That's what it's called when you know, literally does that thing on the floor outside the ring during her entrance. That's called a front walkover.
Oh yeah, how do I say this? Like that. It's not a cartwheel, but it's like, yeah, okay. It's a front walkover.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Like, instead of going into a cartwheel, she goes straight forward into a handstand, and yeah, it's called a walkover. And when she goes into the straddle split, then rolls backwards on her back and picks herself up into a handstand and comes back on her feet. That's incredible. As a matter of fact, that was a move that was often in compulsory routines in the all-around finals for women's gym. Though they stopped doing compulsory routines, but that used to be like a high difficulty move in the Olympics. So to see a 5'10" woman execute it and as well as she does is really impressive, because most women's gymnasts are like 4'7", 4'8".
Yeah, that's the norm.
So to see someone who's literally over a foot taller do it with precision and grace. But yeah, I think the coming out from under the chairs moment was really just the only kind of moment I was so into it, I let it go.
Yeah, that's okay. It can't be all perfect.
No, exactly,
and that's why this match worked in that way, because it was a fight, and real fights are not perfectly scripted.
Exactly, and because when the two of them were sprawled out before the spot where Becky covered her in the chairs and tables, I noticed a huge bloody inside of Charlotte's leg. That was Becky's blood from Becky's elbow. And Becky's fishnets were all ripped up. Her tights were just... Charlotte's stockings were ripped. Like,
yep.
They had each other's blood smeared on their arms and legs. Both of them had busted up elbows. I promise you, both of them are covered in ugly, ugly bruises. Like, they went full out. They did. So I was easily forgiving that little 10 count thing.
The only way this could have been better, in my opinion, and actually, I don't know if it would have made the match better, but I think it would have been interesting to see, is if someone like bladed, because that's never been done actually, it has been done. I've seen Candice LeRae do it.
Yeah,
but it hasn't been done in WWE in a women's match. I know that. And it added a lot to the Austin Hart match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it gave that undying 13. that visual.
Right.
They're so against blood now that you would really have to be upper echelon, Vince's favorite to be able to do it and not get hung out to dry.
Yeah, I think Randy Orton's done it recently.
Yeah.
It's the only one that really comes to mind, though. One thing that I talked about in our recent hardcore roundtable is that I think that it's good that they're not allowing chair shots to the head anymore. But I'd really rather see them use foam chairs and go for the head rather than steel chairs and just go for the body. Because if I'm in a fight and I pick up a chair, I'm looking to bash the other dude's brains in with it
Right.
because that's my defense mechanism. I'm going for the head.
Sure.
I'm in danger. I'm going for the head. And they're against that, right? But
Right.
but they won't allow blading, and instead you can only bleed hard way, and that's how you get concussions anyway. So it
That's
doesn't really
true.
make any
And
sense.
I was gonna say, didn't Randy Orton actually bleed hard way with Brock?
Yep, he took the elbows and he got concussed.
Great. Yeah, it's so much better.
John Cena took hard way against Lesnar at Extreme Rules and broke his nose.
Not worth
I
that. And
think.
I wouldn't trust Brock Lesnar. I wouldn't trust Brock Lesnar to tie my shoes hard way. It's just no. No thanks,
might
buddy. I
might
got it.
dislocate an ankle.
Yeah, exactly. Break all my toes.
So coming off that match, how would you evaluate Becky Lynch's star power? For me, the way I kind of see it is like this. Women in WWE typically have a ceiling on them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been women that have come along that have broken that with strong character performances. You saw it with Lita and Edge, in my opinion. You saw it with AJ Lee, when she became the general manager. She became so popular that, she just got elevated to that role. And now I think you're starting to see with Becky Lynch, where, she's starting to transcend, maybe not into mainstream popularity, but as far as like the fans go, like she's on another level from everybody else just because her character is so strong and she's really committed to it and she wants to make it work.
I think,
where do you think she's at with that now?
I think she is currently at the apex of her powers so far. I think part of what fuels her is how she seemed to get cast aside for so long and how she was constantly the one eating pins and putting everyone else over. And I thought for a long time like I was the only one getting angry about it. And then there was that groundswell of support where everyone just started like lining up behind Becky like ridiculous. She deserves it. Yeah. And ever since then, like all it took was I think maybe herself to realize just how much the fans are behind her. And I think it was maybe an extra confidence boost to her because her promos have gone into the next gear. She carries herself with more confidence. Like part of it is a little bit of a character shift, but after that match, I think if WWE, this is the moment where they should elevate her to next level superstar. This is her launching pad. This is her pipe bomb, her whatever you want to call it. This is her shattering that glass ceiling. If WWE smart enough, now is the time that you give her that stardom and you put that in her.
Agreed. And the fans are not going to let this go anytime soon. I don't know what she did on SmackDown coming off that show, but you could turn her back face now that the Charlotte feud is seemingly squashed for the time being. They did that with Eddie Guerrero, actually. They turned Eddie heel for what ended up being about a 6-month feud with Rey Mysterio, and then just before he died, it seemed like they were working to turn him back babyface again. Now that his issue with Mysterio was out of the way, he could go back to being the old Eddie Guerrero in that sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It made logical sense to me as a kid watching it,
Yeah,
because it was
absolutely.
like he had an axe to grind with a dude, and now
He
that's
wasn't
over.
really a bad guy, but he had
Yeah.
to do what he had to do to get his point across and settle. Yeah.
And that's real life. The fact is, good people are not always automatically going to like good people.
Right.
Bad people are not always going to like bad people. And good people might not always hate bad people, especially if they've never done them wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that just speaks to the genius that Eddie was. But it's something the door is open to do with Becky if they want to do it. After the show, she tweeted she didn't think that the fans were going to come along on this journey with her, it's like implying after the heel turn.
Yeah.
But is thankful that they have, or something to that effect, which indicates to me that the door is open for that if they want to take it.
Because people who ever considered Becky Hill was WWE creative. That's what killed me at the beginning of that match. Michael Cole was still trying to put over Becky as the heel.
He was trying.
Charlotte in the back. Like, Charlotte is not a sympathetic baby face. She's just not.
There's nothing
Honestly,
sympathetic about being born into wrestling and having all the athletic gifts that she has.
And I mean, she's like a 7-time. Like, there was that stretch where she never lost. And if she did somehow lose a title, it was and she immediately got it back. Like, it was just, there was a title on her constantly. It felt like a lot longer than it was. But like they said during the match, like, she has 24 pay-per-view wins. And she hasn't even been on the main roster that.
She has not been around that long.
24 pay-per-view wins. That's ridiculous. But yeah, so it's hard. And just, I'm sure Ashley Flair is actually a sweet girl. But Charlotte Flair does not come across as a sweet girl. You call yourself the queen,
right,
from the Queen City. There is nothing babyface about that. That smacks of arrogance. You're a Flair. You play dirty. Own up to it. Yeah. Be a heel.
Do you remember her match with Alexa Bliss last year at Survivor Series?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the way Charlotte carried herself in that match, she was a babyface then too, but it was like almost a heel versus heel match because she was so cocky.
Yeah.
In the way she carried herself towards Alexa. And because they were both working that way, the sympathy almost went to Alexa because she's just so much the smaller and slighter competitor.
Yeah.
And then came across more as the underdog, which as humans we gravitate towards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember thinking that, was just saying, like, size alone. And then, of course, it's just a height thing. Charlotte's not big. But, yeah, size alone, like, Charlotte's going to be the babyface, the underdog. She looks overpowered, even if she's not. But yeah.
Yeah, that match was every bit as good. And hopefully they see the light on Charlotte too, because people don't boo her because they hate her. They boo her because she's the appropriate heel in this scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was never a Roman Reigns thing with her, in my opinion.
No, fans. Charlotte's super over. And a lot of people truly, truly respect Charlotte, and they should.
Yep.
It's boo, I hate you. It's a matter of boo, you're the heel here. Yeah. That's it. Like, and we want Becky to win this of that, so we're booing you.
Right. Yeah. And anybody can freaking see it. I mean, I remember when they fought at Hell in a Cell, I had a lady friend over here watching the show with me, and she said, why are they talking about Charlotte like she's the good guy? And this is after she watched the video package that WWE put together.
Mm-hmm.
Because in every way, Becky Lynch, seemed like the sympathetic character in that scenario. Sure. Point being, Absolutely. it doesn't take an Einstein to see it. So
No, it doesn't. The
We'll see.
fans, the many opportunities for organically grown baby faces and heels, and WWE just does not listen.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yep.
Then we got the worst match of the night in the main event.
Yep.
It was Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella, and that might be an overstatement.
Yeah.
Raw Women's Championship on the line, and John, under the guise of the Wrestling Estate account, was going back and forth with people on Twitter, arguing that Ronda should have squashed Nikki Bella, and I personally agree with that because listen, who do you think would win in a fight? Okay, Ronda or Alexa Bliss? Ronda. Okay, who do you think would win in a fight? Ronda versus Nikki Bella. Ronda. Yes. Okay. Good. Now, who do you think wins in a fight? Nikki Bella or Alexa Bliss? Close. I would probably say Alexa Bliss. So why, like, if Alexa Bliss got that much offense on Ronda, and Ronda was supposedly hurt in that match, and that was the excuse for it, why the fuck is a healthy Ronda going 50-50 with Nikki Bella? That drove me up the wall.
I said the same thing. It makes no sense. I was
screaming the entire time.
Why is Ronda selling for John Cena's former sex doll? That was literally what I was like, this makes no sense.
And you know, the promo in which Ronda said that, she wrote all by herself and delivered all by herself.
It was her best promo to date.
Yep. It was.
Most reaction.
Yeah.
And that should tell you right there, like, the WWE wants to cast the Bellas as these trailblazers, these icons of women's wrestling, and they're not. They're none of those things.
They're not, and everybody knows it.
And literally, as soon as Ronda Rousey said the thing about the only door you ever knocked on was John Cena's bedroom door, the crowd reaction tells you that everyone agreed. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because everybody agrees. Everybody knows. You know, like, I don't know. Like, Nikki stepped behind the entire match. And like I said, the last podcast I did, I don't know. I know Nikki sucks. We all sucks. But to a degree, and because I have heard so many other women accuse her of it, I think she was trying to sandbag her look bad. I really do.
That's interesting.
I have seen, like, literally, I don't want a bunch of names out there and stir up drama, but I know for a fact that I have heard shoot interviews with 4 different women, all of whom said Nikki Bella has to mess with their careers, and in the ring she has deliberately sandbagged them to make them look bad, trying to not go up for moves or deliberately sloppy to try to make them look bad. And I know, like, I Bella hater, and so people say, oh, you're just gonna hate on them no matter what. No, I wanted to see a good match, but everything about what Nikki Bella showed us that she hasn't changed. She does not care about the rest, about Nikki Bella and Nikki Bella's camera time. And I said, there's 2 things that tell you that. Number one, like I said, the pro of the show, when she said, this match is dedicated to Miss Ronda Rousey. Like, you couldn't be bothered to Google the woman's name for the sake of a promo. You couldn't even put effort into a promo. And then at the end of the show, when every single woman, past and present, came out on the ramp, there were 2 women who didn't show, and it was 3. Ronda was out there. Becky and Charlotte, who damn near killed each other, were out there.
Yeah.
Where were the Bellas?
Well, I will get to the curtain call.
What does that tell me? Because it tells me that they don't give a shit, that they've collected their paycheck and they're going home. They don't care about glad handing. They don't care about the women. They don't care about evolution or moving the division forward. They cared about their brand, and that was it. And to me, that is so disrespectful to every other woman on that roster, to every woman who came before them. That blatant disrespect.
Here's how I think this card came together. Vince McMahon was like, all right, we need to market the women. We will make up for this Saudi Arabian mishap with Evolution, the all-women's pay-per-view. Triple H, I want you to put together the greatest women's card of all time. But the main event has to be Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella for the women's championship of Raw. And so that was what happened. You had this great show. You can I'm literally looking at Wikipedia right now. If I take my hand and I put it over the Ronda Rousey Nikki Bella match, I see a great card. With it, I see a very good card. Great, very good. Great, very good. So that's just kind of how I see that. As far as Nikki sandbagging Ronda, I'm gonna go back and look at that. That's interesting to me. I'm not very good at picking up on that stuff in the moment, but anytime I've gone back and looked at it, you could tell. Hardcore Holly definitely sandbag Brock Lesnar, right?
In particular, the tosses that Ronda does when she slings people. Watch how Nikki goes up for her. Watch how Nikki takes it. Like, to me, it just smacks of her. Like, at one point, you see her move her body to land a different way. I'm like, you're deliberately trying to make it look like this woman doesn't know what she's doing.
Okay.
And again, my history in dance and gymnastics, I watch how people move.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, the nice thing about Ronda is, even if you don't want to go, you're still going to go.
Yeah.
As far as getting picked up.
And
so I guess that made the match tolerable.
Both of them was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Right. It was not a 1-star match. It was a solid 2-star match. And it was a disgrace that Nikki Bella got in all the offense that she did, in my opinion. It was a disgrace to women's wrestling. It was a disgrace to women's fighting. It was a disgrace to the Raw Women's Championship and a disgrace to Ronda. As far as the Bellas playing up the angle with Ronda and her mother, that's a legitimate angle, and I'd like to see a heel exploit that a little bit. But I don't think Ronda's mother was even in attendance.
I don't think she was either.
So there's no payoff for that. So they're just words. And that was pretty weird. I expected her to be there and like make an angle out of it, but
it was just a nonsensical thing. Like, once again, not a good actress, not a good talker. And she started all this nonsense about your mother is in you. Like, her delivery is just so wooden and awful. And I'm like, what are you even talking? Like, are you just inventing things as you speak? Like, it was just such a bizarre thing to say. Like, is that the best you can do? And yes, of course it is.
Pretty much.
Like, I wanted, because everyone kept telling me that I'm just jealous of Nikki and she's so much better. And I say this to everyone at me, and they're like, she's so good. I challenge everyone who wants to come for me for being a quote unquote Bella hater. One single solitary Nikki Bella promo where she doesn't trip over her words, where she speaks eloquently, where she makes clearly and effectively and gets you behind her, like really wanting to pull for her. And I challenge you to find Nikki Bella match where she looked good that wasn't with Charlotte, Natalia, Nix. Show me one good promo like that and show me one match where she didn't have to be carried. and I will concede that Nikki Bella has improved. I'm still waiting.
Yeah, me too. I don't think we're ever gonna get it. Hopefully, that's the last we see of her. But yeah, the last thing I'll address on this show is the curtain call. I fucking hate curtain calls in wrestling. It's not just the women, but it seems like the women do it more because WWE's told them,
do you think
you
it
were
just kills
nothing.
kayfabe?
Now you're something.
Yeah,
fuck, yeah, it does. I mean, not just kayfabe, but it's like it's just weird. It also happened in All In. The women had the fatal 4-way match. It was like what was it? It was Britt Baker, Tessa Blanchard, Chelsea Green, and one other girl. They had this match.
What's her name? Jordan Grace.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah.
They have this match, and Chelsea Green is like in character the whole time, and it's great. Bell rings, everybody gets up. Chelsea Green goes out of character, and then everybody goes in the middle and hugs it out, and then raises their hands. Like, plays over. Thank you. Everybody's throwing roses into the ring. Yeah, exactly. I think it's clowny. I think that if you want to be a star, you just don't fucking do that. Don't fucking do it. Like, that's it. And we will take you seriously as a superstar. But if you do that, then you're really, really lowering yourself, in my opinion. Being a star is all about care, like the way you carry yourself. Perception is reality. Not always, but in the case of show business, it certainly is.
Sure.
Because all we see is what's on screen. And if you're going to use your screen time to go out and throw a pity party for yourself and the women wrestlers saying, "Oh, thank you, we did it, we really did it, we are that good, we put on our first all women's pay-per-view," then it's like, were you not ever capable of that? I always thought you were, but now you've done this curtain call, and maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but I'm just not a huge
I totally
fan.
get what you're saying, and I don't think it should be a regular thing for the women. I didn't, and it's just a difference in perception. Like, I totally get what you're saying, and yeah, usually I do hate the whole breaking character, because once in a while I like to see two enemies shake hands and give each other like a nod of approval, because that does strengthen certain storylines.
Yeah, that's different.
But if you do it weakens that whole thing. But I didn't see the curtain call as a we did it type thing. Is them coming out and saying thank you all for supporting us, and thank you all for being here and cheering for us. I took it as them kind of just all coming out, taking a bow and saying thank you for being here for us.
So I could definitely see that. But why not just have it for the live crowd? Do it as the show fades to black. Ronda Rousey's up there celebrating her title win. Thank you, everybody, from Evolution. Good night. And then the cameras fade to black. Everybody comes out in the ramp. They're clapping, and they do the photo op, and they're clapping for the fans. The fans are clapping back at them, and then you send them home. Why couldn't they have done that? I just don't understand why it has to be on television, because television is what everybody sees.
True.
What you don't see on TV is for the live crowd and for all 10,000 people that were there out of the millions and millions, to quote The Rock, of fans that you have. That won't matter, but it will matter if you do it in front of the larger audience like that, and where you're projecting everybody.
You're right. I can absolutely. You're right. Actually, I do think that would have been a thank you specifically to the live crowd. Yeah.
I did like though that they this was the first time in years they've done the post pay-per-view music video.
Yes. I mentioned that too. It immediately made me think of like old school Royal Rumbles with like the sexy sax music and the stills of all the matches and everything, the highlights.
Yeah.
Awesome. I dug that. The highlight reel.
Or after WrestleMania 20, where they play Step Up by Drowning Pool, and they they show the highlights from the night, and Benoit tapping Triple H to end it. And, chills. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
What else was I gonna say? No, that was cool. It was literally the cherry on top of what was, what you could definitely say was one of the best WWE shows of the year.
Absolutely. I know you weren't wild about the curtain call, but I really liked the visual of and side by side, and they like high-fived title belts. Like that was just a cool moment of effing girl power. Like both of them were just like high effing five. And it was just a cool little moment between the two of them. I was
Who
like,
was this?
that's right. Becky and Ronda.
See, that's the thing, though. Like, now they're going to go into a program, and we're going to have to pretend that that didn't happen.
Becky and Ronda?
Yeah. Yeah, probably for Survivor Series.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you can always high five and show respect, but then when you get in the ring, it's time to handle business. So,
yeah, especially though since Becky is now so character driven on Twitter. You know, she's going after Rhea Ripley. She's going after Alexa Bliss. She's going after Ronda.
Alexa Bliss, you should cosplay as the Water Boy for all the time you spent. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah, Becky's a very witty individual, and that's one of the things that gives me such a crush on her. Not just how good she is in the ring, or her great hair or great face, really.
She's just, I just love her.
But she's got such a great personality, even as a heel. It almost makes her more attractive to me in a weird way.
Not arguing with that.
So that's Evolution, everybody.
Whoop, whoop.
In women's wrestling, and the business and logistics of WWE ratings, and some politics, and borderline body shaming, and locker room talk. So that was a lot of fun. Jenna, how can the listeners reach out to you and interact with you on social media?
You can find me on YouTube. I am Jenna Lee. You can yell at me on Twitter. I am Miss Jenna _Lee. I have two Instagram. My main one, that's my everyday life. That is Miss _Jenna _Lee. And I have a wrestling specific Instagram that is. So any of those 4 spots, you'll find me.
All right, cool. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Jack Goodwillie. Instagram, same thing. And I'm happy to go back and forth about any of the crude points that I made tonight. I'll defend it. Over on the Wrestling Estate, which you can check out at the Wrestling I'm drawing a blank. EST. At the Wrestling, at the Wrestling EST on Twitter. You can find our recent Hardcore Championship Roundtable, and then we've also got a very interesting concept coming up in the pipeline. I can't tell you too much, but it's slowly coming together, and when it does, you'll know. And I think it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. We said that like the same time.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's going to be awesome.
Good. All right, guys. From Jenna Lee and myself, Jack Goodwillie. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and take care.